Yeah.
All right,
A
so
rock band microphone.
oh man,
Whatever works. Oh,
It's,
let me post
it's
the thing.
literally
look,
a rock
we
band.
literally had technical difficulties. I don't know what happened. Aerocaster, our platform that we use to stream, was down, and we sent Brennan home to get his iPad to try his. You good?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
It sounds pretty good. Luckily, I had a rock band microphone laying around, and that seems to work. So we're gonna go ahead and do this
Here,
just
I'm gonna
old
post it.
school. Just take the volume
Yeah.
off.
It's too bright in here though. Oh well.
Is it?
Yeah, hit one of those.
Yeah, let me turn that light off.
Yeah.
Everybody's
There we go.
Everybody's
somebody just
probably
made a
in
comment about
in bed already. But anyway, so this sucks that we've done so many podcasts where everything worked, and the one time we got
We actually got an awesome one.
BT Bennett Toller. Welcome to the podcast, man. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, say something. Say hi. Say what's up.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Very soft-spoken guy. Has been very patient. So
we got him some bourbon. Maybe we can open them up.
yeah.
Wound up here in a minute.
No.
All right. So, Greg Bishop, if you're out there, he's like, this is fucking hard to find. Kind of like Juniper Creek.
Hard to find. What's hard to
That's
find?
one big sign on the side.
This
of
is
it.
beautiful. This is the best cover we've ever had.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, I'll change it later. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
someone had a comment on there too. I don't know if you got it going.
I
on there.
basically just turned the iPad around and we're just live YouTube. This is a rock band microphone. We're just going to make it do. We're going to just make do with it. And then if it's real shitty, hopefully we'll come back. Hopefully you'll want to come back
Oh
after
yeah,
this.
I'll
After
come back.
make sure it's all right. So anyway, welcome to the show. And for y'all that don't know, Bennett, how long have you been,
There we go. No,
good?
Yeah, they can't
you
see
good?
it.
Getting your cameo?
Yeah. You make like he's the guest. We're more worried about him, not you. All right, Bennett. Tell us a little bit about yourself, bud. Where are you from? Where did you start hunting? Fort Bragg. When did you start hunting? Give us the scoop.
I was born in Kinston, but lived here in Fayetteville all my life, and started hunting Fort Bragg back in the '80s.
Where'd you go to school at? You Douglasburg boy? Douglasburg.
Yeah.
That's where everybody had to go. They were Terry Sanford.
Or 71st.
Was 71st open then?
Yeah, my
71st.
cousin
My
went to
mom
Archery,
graduated
went
from
to-
there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are up. We got a few people tuned in.
So you started hunting. Who got you into hunting? Is your daddy a hunter?
My brother.
Your brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Going back.
Yeah.
One of
We
the
used to
best.
hunt the impact areas back then.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So when did you get like how long did it take you to develop? Obviously, you know it's got to feel good that you know that you're probably the best deer hunter on Fort Bragg. Maybe best deer hunter that I've ever met
It was a lot of
seen.
work.
Like you're a really good deer hunter. You seem really modest about it. If I was as good as you, I'd be talking mad shit, but you don't. You're a nice guy. How long did it take to develop that? Like,
Oh my gosh, a long time. It took me 5 years hunting the area that I hunt to even see a deer
Really?
and to shoot a deer.
Oh wow.
And then after that, I'm like, well, you got to use reverse psychology on these deer. I mean, just hunt the opposite way you think you should.
Yeah, that's hard, man.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
That
And-
is,
and-
you keep confidence in it too.
And
Like,
then you
I-
start experimenting with like calling them and putting scent out and trying to draw them in. That's fun.
Where do you look for on when you go out? Obviously, you ain't got to give up your spot, but we all know where you hunt anyway. Obviously,
I'm starting to move around more
Yeah.
nowadays.
I gotta, we all are familiar with Bennett, but for those of y'all who might be new to the club or just hunt Bragg, if you've been in that wildlife office, pretty much every deer on that wall, the man right here shot.
How many
bow
up?
and arrows.
How
so
many up there are
6.
yours? 6 out of
Yeah.
how many are up there? 6.
They're
8 or
all
9.
trophy deer
I think
too,
there's
so.
8. I think.
Yeah.
Al's got
Al's
his son's
got-
2
yeah.
deer in there.
Yeah, Al's
And
2 deer.
the roadkill from Chicken and Planks in there, that one that destroyed
Yeah.
that lady's car, 11 or 12 points.
Oh, yeah. So this is one of the OG godfathers of Fort Bragg hunting, I guess you could say. Jonathan too, you've been hunting Bragg since you were a little kid.
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
Since 87.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
His
remember-
his dad and my brother got me into it.
Nice.
If it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have been
Oh,
there
wow.
hunting out
How
there.
many seasons since you started have you missed?
Probably just a couple.
Just a
I
couple.
think I started kingfishing at the beach
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that
yeah,
ruined
yeah.
me.
Oh, you're pretty new to
For a couple-
kingfishing now? Or
No, I've been doing it since back in '82.
No, but I tell you, it'll grab a hold. It grabbed a hold of me. I think I was heavy 3-4 days a week driving down to Johnny Mercer's.
Only takes one king
It
sky
takes
bait. and
That's it. But I don't know how many, 40, 48, I don't know how many hours, 100 hours to catch one fish.
Over a whitetail? You gonna go kingfishing?
Well, no, no, I'm just saying, I didn't miss the deer hunting season for kinging, but I did
okay.
skip out on hunting because during the fall is when they come back in, when the water
October,
cools off,
yes,
yeah.
sir, but
Yeah,
October,
king
so-
green, when the
Yeah.
green water rolls in?
Yeah, but, so yes, I did pick kingfishing over whitetail hunting for about 3 years, in
Okay.
October,
I don't
Yeah.
know. I can get close to bass fishing, but I can't
because
get,
bass fishing's not,
whatever, man.
It's
It
not the
takes
same.
skill. You're not a
it's not
bait
the
sucker.
same.
when
What do you
you're-
think? Let's say you got 3 guys, how do I pin this up? You got 3 guys standing on the damn, at the boat dock or wherever with the kingfish, and guy caught it trolling. One guy caught it off the pier, pin rigging, and one guy caught it with a just regular old fishing. Who's cooler?
I don't know. I guarantee you the guy fishing on the pier will remember it more than anybody.
There you
To be
go.
honest, I mean, you know, I sit there. I don't remember all of them, but I remember standing in the pier house with a beer in my hand, and I look out and I saw a king sky my bait. I threw the damn beer back in the cooler and took off running.
Yeah.
I've never seen you run. I'd like to see that.
I was hitting about every 10th board, I think, or maybe 15, like a deer
gracious.
running out there. You know?
The first time I actually hooked up on a king, it happened to me 3 times. And then the last time, I didn't kingfish last year, but the year before that, I went a couple of times, and twice last year, I'm in the bathroom pissing, and it goes off, and I got a phone call, and I think they're fucking, you get to know all those guys now, they become like your family.
Is it Mercer's?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mercer's
Johnny
at the
Mercer's,
end, and they texted me, and I thought they were bullshitting. My buddy Chris held it. He fought it. He tried to keep it out there, and they pretty much got it within like 20 yards of the pier. I reeled it in,
Oh, yeah.
and then they hooked it. So I mean, it's kind of even when you catch one and no one helps you, you don't take a bait from nobody. It's still a team effort because guys got to get the fuck out of your way.
Yeah.
Someone's got to gaff it. You know what I mean? So
They
it's
working together, then you ain't gonna catch
you
it.
ain't gonna catch it. Yeah.
So- Bennett, I was gonna, we've had a couple, the last couple podcasts, we've been talking about tactics. I don't know, I don't know if you've been watching or not, but basically, first time we had Jonathan, we talked about early season, preseason, scouting and stuff like that, and what's for Bragg specifically. And then we moved into, during the season, the rut. And last time we were talking about late season, but I was gonna ask you if you don't, we're obviously don't wanna give away any of your spots, but if you had anything you wanna share just on your own personal advice or tips for hunting Bragg. I mean, I know Bennett knows, a lot of great places. I'm not gonna reveal the spots, but I remember the first time I had a brush in with him was, I was a guy in a minivan. I don't know if y'all remember that, but I had the minivan. Yeah, I'm not gonna give away our spot, but I was coming in one day, late evening, early afternoon as I was, and I didn't see Bennett at first, but I saw a Jeep. And at the time, I wasn't aware that we could use the fire brakes to get to where you needed to be. I thought they were off limits completely. So I would park in one spot, but I would walk way in. Like, it would take me 30 minutes to walk to a spot. And I felt bad because I kind of heard about you and knew who you were, but never met you. And I pulled up, and I seen the Jeep, and then all of a sudden I seen orange. I was like, oh, man, crap, I hope I didn't bust this guy's hunt. So I parked. And then another time I was going to that same spot, and I believe it was Donald Hutchinson in his Jeep.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we're both at sitting
Yeah,
there,
and I was there, and he came up, and he's like looking at me. He's like, "Hey, man, you gonna hunt this spot?" I was like, "Nah," because he was coming in late too, because he forgot his pass. I was like, "No, I go way in. I just park here because I'm obviously in a minivan. I can't get down the fire break." But yeah, so what would you say is a good tip for Bragg in your own personal experience?
hunting good oak trees.
Oak trees,
That's
yeah,
the main thing. Walk the fire breaks and see where the deer cross them back and forth.
yeah, oh yeah.
The main thing.
See, I taught him everything he knows. That's exactly what I said in our last podcast.
Yeah.
You,
I mean, walking one way is one thing, but if you can catch them walking back and forth,
yeah.
they're gonna
Yeah.
come back sometime or another.
How many individual trees do you hunt? I know the answer.
Well,
so-
I hunt more of them now, but I used to wear a daggone bark off the tree.
I'm the same way. I got like 4 or 5 spots in the same tree, and that I always go. I mean, even I will look for new spots, and every once in a while I'll jump in one like a freestyle because I need to be over there and closer. I'm in the same area, but I always go back. I walk to my area right now, and I'll find my tree because I'll see all the bark laying on the ground.
I mean,
You know?
I mean individual oak trees. One single oak tree.
Oh, you mean the food? The
Yeah.
The
Oh,
food.
yeah,
hot.
yeah, every other year.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's just
Where's that at?
a rotation. Yeah. It's,
I don't
where-
believe you.
You know where Walmart is over off?
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
Skybo? Yeah, it's
Mhm.
nowhere near
Juniper
that one.
Creek.
Yeah.
Who is it? Is that you? You know where Bragg's at? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's there.
It's
I'm
there,
like,
yeah. You and I were
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
one day. You said, "Where's that spot at?" I was like, "Oh, it's on Bragg. You know where it's at?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "It's out there."
No, he got me one time. He sent me a picture one time, and I said, "Where's that at?" He goes, "You know where Area X is?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Nowhere near there," or something like that.
That's like,
That spot that I met you,
yeah.
you know, every other year there's red oaks and then there's white oaks.
Yeah.
The red oaks grow there every single year.
Hmm.
And then there used to be a grove of persimmons in there and they cut every one of them down.
Yeah.
That's
There used to be
aces
10
for
or
you.
12 trees in there.
That's aces for you, man. They got contracted to go through and basically take a forestry grinder and anything that wasn't a loblolly or a pine
Mm.
got
Take it
mulched
out.
up. And
Yeah.
even the deer hunters that work for them, I mean, damn, dude, you're making $100 an hour. You're gonna go do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I found about 3 years ago. I found, and they're still there. There's about 8 persimmon trees that drop a lot of fruit, and it's not far from. I think you might be in that area sometimes. If you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a rock culvert somewhere close by, and then there's like a corner. Yeah, and I.
And a rock culvert.
There's a
Yeah.
There's a street nearby with
There's-
fire break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he knows what I'm talking
Probably
about.
knows.
I'm not trying to give you a hint. I'm trying to.
There's some pine straw in
There's
there.
some pine straw.
Well, you gotta remember too, he and I were hunting where you're talking about, where the rock culvert is on the corner by the street.
Yeah.
Together, what?
Do you know where I'm talking about just by saying that?
Yeah,
I know what you're
Okay.
talking about.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
Was that when they shot that one and you said, don't get out of the tree?
Yeah.
That big 8 with the Roman nose?
Oh yeah, I remember that morning. I was.
Oh, yeah.
We took.
You
remember
weren't
we
too
took,
far from me, but
We
you
took
were
him
in
to the
different-
archery clinic that morning. I meant
Yeah,
to bring
yeah.
you the pictures and all that when Teddy had it on Hope Mills Road.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there that morning. There's a particular red oak. Imagine that, because BT likes to hunt the red oaks.
Yeah.
And he said, "Man, I'm just gonna go down here. You go here." And I'm like, "Okay, all right, whatever. You know, I'll go." It was probably what, 8 o'clock. Hey man,
It was cold, too.
yeah, it was miserably cold. He said, "Hey man, I just shot him." I was like, "Whatever, dude." He's like, "Nah, come on down
I
here."
was sitting there going,
Yeah. That's the best.
So I get there and I look up and I'm like, "How the hell does he even get in that tree?" And at the time, I think you were still shooting muzzies then. There was no blood to that deer.
no, it was a muzzy. Teddy told me to take the 135 or 140 grain,
And
the
put-
4-blade, and take one of the blades
And take
out.
the blade out.
It went right through that.
Oh wow.
Why take one of the blades out?
Because he was shooting such low poundage.
55 pounds.
And you figure then, I mean, this was literally 2008, 2009 when you killed that deer, right?
Yeah.
And it, just no pounding, you know, the bows weren't as quick as what they
Yeah.
are now.
Do you sharpen your blades by chance on your
I
on your
sharpened the crap
broadhead?
out. Now they
Yeah.
got this belt thing, leather thing or strap or
Mhm.
something that you sharpen.
Yeah.
They said it really, really.
I got one of those for a straight razor, but I didn't think about that for using it on my broadhead.
What do you shoot now?
Magnus stingers. I only get the Magnus killer bees. It's like a traditional head. It's 4-blade, but the 2 blades are only about
Gotcha.
little
Yeah.
tiny.
I bought some. I'm gonna use one this year. I don't know what they're called, but they almost look like field points, and they're like it's like a triangle. There's 3 blades, but they're kind of twisted, and they're real small. They're real heavy almost. They're almost like, you know what I'm talking about? I think you made a
Sounds like
comment.
Sounds like a subsonic or something.
It looks like a bullet tip almost. I mean, it looks like a field point. It's just a little bit bigger than like a field point, and it's got 3 edges on it.
Fixed or mechanical?
They're like cast.
Oh, is it like tooth and arrow?
Man, I'll have to bring it. I'll have to show you. It looks like when it hits, it's designed when it hits to spin
To keep it.
and then
Yeah.
like blow a hole in it.
If your bow is shooting right turn.
What do you mean right turn? I don't
You
get it.
can you can take your bow and your bow can be knocking right or knocking left depending on how the string was twisted. So
I know that.
a lot of people that shoot right helical with a left-handed twisted string, it's actually when it comes off, it's actually fighting itself. So it's
Oh,
naturally
I
turning
got
right.
you. I got you.
You just-
So I'm gonna assume that my shit's good.
Which way?
Right.
Yeah, there's a twisted. Mine are straight.
I shoot straight as well. Now that, I was up until last year when I switched to the Q80.
How would you
Exodus.
know? Because you never hit a fucking target.
Still got more on the wall than you. But you basically just take your arrow and make a knock or a mark on your knock and just shoot it at 3, 4, 5 feet, and it'll tell you which way it's clocking.
Okay.
And but I shoot a real extreme. Jared Zale actually taught me into shooting like a real hard right hand helical because I'm shooting a fixed blade. I'm shooting a really heavy arrow now. I think arrow knock, broadhead and everything is 540 some odd grains.
That's heavy.
It is, and when it hits them,
When I went
it's like
to,
it looks center block. Yeah.
do you guys know was it Gene McMillan? Was that Gene McMurray? Do you guys don't know? He grew up around here too.
Sounds familiar.
He hunts the page. He's the guy that I posted. He was the bow tech at Gander, I guess, and
Yeah,
then
you went to another day.
and he's just like retired, but he's got it in his house in Fayetteville. And I went over there, and he's got all the shit. You know, I don't know what it's called. Put all the shit to make sure that it's even and make sure it's straight. And we got everything tuned up. But he weighed my arrows, and I think they were like in the 4s, like 0.4 or whatever. But he had some that were bigger than mine that were like 0.3 gold
tips.
gold tip.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the brand that I was thinking about getting. He said because I guess it's faster.
It is faster, but I mean, the way I look at it, would you rather be zip through with a BB or hit with a center block?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
And the reason
That's what
being
I
is
thought too. That's why I got like this. I don't have the real light arrows. I got
want a
the.
big, heavy.
They're skinny.
And I want to. Well, mine are too. I'm shooting an Easton full metal jacket. It's a carbon wrapped with aluminum.
That's what I got.
And I love them, man. I really
Are they
do.
black with little gray checks on them?
Like diamond.
Yeah,
plate.
diamond plate. Yeah, I got the same ones. Yeah, I love those things.
I love the things, man.
What are you pulling pound wise on your bow? Do you
I
know?
shoot 64 pounds.
64.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
bought
mine was.
I bought a
70.
I bought a 60-pound bow and I maxed it out. Just because Alton said, "Hey man, whatever you do," he's like, "If you don't want to shoot 70 pounds, buy a bow and max it out because that's where it's best performance." So that's what I've always done.
I actually want to go lower. I'm at 64 too. We tested it. I thought I was at 40 to be honest with you, because I bought that bow. I got that Dart and Demon. I think it's a 2018 or 2019, but I think it was set at like 90 pounds. So you turn the screws out on the limbs, and mine looked like if I do one more turn, it's gonna come off. So I figured I'm at like 45 pounds where I wanted to be. And we tested it on his thing. It was like 64 pounds.
You wanted to be at 45?
I wanted to be lower, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like, because first of all, I'm not shooting none of the deer that I'm taking a shot at. Now, if I would have saw that deer at 50 yards, I would have kept, I don't care if I had to throw it up in the air. I'm going to try to get that motherfucker.
Put your foot in there.
And do, what I can, but typically,
He's just wound him up, basically.
if I hit him enough times, he'll die. If I wound him good enough, he'll die.
No, that's not true at all.
Shut up.
That's
Shut
not
it.
true.
I can hit a target at 50
How many
yards.
deer have you lost on Bragg bow hunting? Just a general number.
A few. I almost lost one last year. That one I shot at 15 yards. Well, it was.
But that's still
weird.
questionable because I shot a deer that looked identical to it, almost in the same area. So I think you might have found my deer. But I'll let you have it.
That's
Go ahead.
a pretty nice guy.
And it started raining that evening, and Joshua Russ said he put his dog in there, and we found blood and jumped it,
Mhm.
and it didn't go 200 yards.
Oh, is that
It
deer I
started
found on
raining.
Hutch?
And I found it last year. Matter of fact, Rick Patterson works at Range Control.
Oh, Rick.
He was walking out of the woods, and I found it in the maggots are everywhere.
Yeah.
I drug it out there, and he stopped, pulled it on the side of the road, and said, "Dang, what you got there?"
I know Rick ain't watching. I don't even know if he has a cell phone any longer. He's so out of touch with reality.
We got 12 people tuned, or 13 now tuned in. We got a little bit. That's a good audience. So
Heck yeah.
you've been doing you done any scouting already this season?
Mm-mm.
You scouted all? You don't even scout. You don't need to.
I try to wait for them darn chiggers to get a little bit.
Yeah.
going. You got to get out there a little bit opening day. I mean, I've shot one opening day before. I shot a velvet 10-pointer one
I
time, a
remember
small
that.
one.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was kinda
There was a
cool,
lot of
that one.
scuttle around the website too that you were getting your intel from the guys at the like they put you on that deer and you shot it in the impact area. Is that true?
No.
This was before I even.
Where the hell did that even come from?
This was what 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6
Someone
years ago.
actually said that though?
Yeah,
Wow.
Really?
yeah. I made a comment on, I said, I didn't know BT. The first time I ever killed a buck, I'm sure you don't remember this. It was a scrubby it was a 7-pointer, but it was a 4-year-old 7-pointer. First buck I ever killed. And I'm cleaning it, and you came in with your buddy. I don't know who it was. It might have been Don Hutchins, if I
Either
remember.
Donald or David, probably.
I don't know, but it was a nice deer you guys were caping, and it had really, really dark. It wasn't wide. It seemed like it was like low, and it was really, really dark. It was a very nice deer, but that's the first time I ever seen you, and I kind of thought you were an asshole because you don't talk much.
I'm quiet.
Everybody's bullshit. You know, everybody's talking, and you were real quiet with that badass best deer in there. But and then the next year, I started scouting a little bit, and I went down in an area, and I put my cameras, and you were on 2 of them. And my cousin, who knew who you were, was yeah.
Yeah.
But no, he was like, he told me, he was like, he said, don't hunt down there because that's where you hunt. So I didn't go down in there.
Yeah.
But then I met you, and you seemed to be a
Yeah, I
nice
mean,
guy.
I mean, get together and say, hey, I'm gonna hunt here today,
Yeah.
and you know, stuff like that. What I don't stand is somebody going there and putting a darn trail camera
On your tree.
facing your tree. Like, I know when he's getting in
Oh
the
man,
tree.
and you weren't lying
Yeah.
last year because I found where you're talking about. I'm not going to reveal, but there was one spot, and I walked it with Randy. We did a little after session scouting, and BT said there's more trail cams out here than at freaking
Yeah.
Field and Stream.
Yeah,
And
y'all
sure enough,
said there was.
Yeah.
I don't know who they were, but I was doing like Egyptian walks past their cameras, and I'm just being a goofball. But man, it was. You know what's funny though? That spot, like everyone likes to concentrate on that spot, but you got the whole area. There's plenty of other spots there that are.
in the deer know.
But that's
Yeah.
where they're
But you know what,
following
let
the
'em-
tracks,
I
and
don't care,
that's
'cause-
where it's.
Yeah.
The one I shot last year, the guys were in there hunting. There was like 10 trees in there they had climbed, and and one where they quit hunting, and I said, I'm just gonna go in there. I told Donald, I said, I'm gonna go in there in the morning, and I'm gonna rattle. And then Jacker come out at 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's fun.
I was looking at, man, I'll tell you, when I was, I went in to get my stuff on the last day, and of course,
Is that mine?
there was, yeah, that's sugar-free, that's yours.
Thank you. Sorry.
There was a dead spell for a while last, December. I had a real dead spell. Like, I was getting a lot of luck early in the season, but I held off. I'm like, nah, I want to save my tags for that trophy buck, and I ended up wasting one of my buck tags on a freaking scrub. But I shot at it, this was rifle, and I shot at it, thought it was a doe, and it had like 1.5 spikes.
Oh
It was supposed to be a 4-pointer, but it like one with the double prongs, but then the other one was just a little nub. And then when I went to it, I was pissed because I was like, man, damn it! But
yeah. Got some good meat anyway.
yeah, but there was one in there, so I was in our special area and getting my stuff out, and I pulled my Jeep over just to look at some stuff. I saw these big old tracks, and I was like, I must have pushed him out when I came in. And sure enough, as I'm exiting, right there at the exit where you hit the road, I look to my right, and there's this big old monster. And he looks at me, and he kind of, I saw him cross the road as I was driving out, and I was like, that's a big body dude. So, and then he went up towards, let's see, if we're facing the road, he went that way. I'm not going to give any more clues.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But you know where I'm
He was
talking
acting
about.
goofy, wasn't he?
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, man, I hope he's still in there, and he was a big boy. He probably 8-10 pointer, hopefully. I think I got him on camera as well, but I'm
Do you
hoping he's still in
reckon?
there.
Do you reckon that big mature deer on Bragg may hang out in the culverts or the ditches right next to them main hardballs?
If there's a thicket in there.
Like a thicket for you think? Because I always had this theory because I always see them coming out of there. I know you were on what was it, Southeast podcast about 2 years ago, down south hunting or whatever.
Yeah. Well, he called me not long ago and wanted me to do another one.
Yeah, I listened to it and I picked up on your about 50 yards, 75 yards off a main road, and now almost all of my hunting spots are about 50 to 75 yards off of a main road. But I kind of reckon that they, if I'm just putting my human brain and trying to come up with a scenario and why they would be there, you think maybe they know that as long as they can hear like traffic and noise, they know, okay, I'm safe right here.
Mm-hmm.
There's not gonna be no coyotes coming around and all that. And as soon as it kind of dies down, the traffic stops and it gets quiet, now it's kind of like I can get out and go move around. That makes sense.
They're that.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
I've got.
safety to their back.
It's kind of like a coyotes now. When they live in cities, they get same thing. They kind of go under underpasses and they den where their backs are safe, and they can they put cameras on them. And while there's traffic, they're sleeping. They ain't worried about no predators or nothing really. I don't know if coyotes have predators, but they're not worried about shit. And as soon as it calms down and the city kind of goes to sleep, then they come out. I just wonder if that is Or is it just a coincidence they just happen to be crossing the
Yeah, I
roads?
think they smarter than people think. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
See, I still think they're dumb as fuck. I mean, everybody's like,
They are
I think they're
sometimes.
slick. I think
Yeah.
that they're slick. They're real sly, but if they were smart, they would build houses. You know?
Well, yeah, to a certain
They'd open
extent.
brothels if they were smart, you know?
But you got to remember too with a whitetail, where people always go there like, oh man, it's big, huge swamp. That's where the deer got to be and all that. Man, he needs a place this big to lay down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he can hide himself right there at the side.
It's
of the
amazing
road.
how they can. You wouldn't think that they got
Yeah.
no camouflage, but like Randy
They
pointed this
are.
out last year. He had this little spike, which I'm surprised he didn't shoot. He was right below his tree, like 20 yards, and he was taking a picture of it, and then he looked down at his phone to send it to me, and then he looked up and he lost it, and it was still
Yeah.
standing right there.
Right there.
Like, it was like he's
Yeah,
like, it's
they-
amazing how they
trippy,
blend
yeah.
in with those
Yeah.
oaks and.
Mother Nature's taking care of them. Even in the springtime, turkey hunting.
Mhm.
Remember, I mean, how many times have you just little fawn? Hell, they
Oh,
got
yeah.
white on them.
Yeah,
You're
but-
like,
yeah.
How would white not
How does
stick
that
out?
work? Yeah.
And then it's just, I mean, I
Blend
literally,
right in.
walked up, bumped the doe or something like that, and then walk a few more feet and hear that little bang.
They have like a
Man.
reddish tint to me. They look like they have more of
They-
like a red coat in the
They do.
springtime.
In the spring and summer, they have a thinner coat.
Yeah.
And then in the fall, winter, when they literally kind of shed into a darker coat, it's because of the change in the season. Darker grasses, darker leaves,
Right.
thicker coat, a little bit thicker of a hair for cold.
Now I know you follow. We talked about this, and you said you don't pay no attention, don't follow the moon phases. I know you. Last year, I noticed you were following that shit.
I believe in that.
I
Yeah,
believe
what's
in it too. Yeah.
The moon guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The-
I
red
downloaded the
moon,
same thing. The
the
red moon. Yeah.
Adam
Oh.
Hayes the third.
Yeah.
Has it's proven good for you on the moon? Yeah. I tend to do that as well because what about, do you hunt rain? Do you believe in hunting storms, stuff like that? No.
See,
You
I
don't?
don't want to get wet. I don't want to get wet.
See, there you
I
go.
don't want my boat to
I
get
hear
wet.
people all the time. I hear it all the time. There's always one guy that says, "I kill my biggest deer in the pouring rain," but I ain't never seen.
No, it is.
I ain't never seen a picture of you in the pouring rain. They say it, but they never say, "See this deer right here," and he's like soaking wet. So I've never been proven to me, and I have hunted in the rain based on that. Like, I killed the biggest deer. And I know I have seen them when it's drizzling.
Mhm.
Usually when it stops.
Yeah. When
Oh,
it
yeah, they
stops.
kill
When
Yeah,
it stops,
yeah.
almost. I've been out in, I keep wanting to say the area, out on Bragg, and I go out while it's raining, and it's one of them days. Sometimes I'm just going. The pressure's wrong. It's too warm. It's no cold snap. It was maybe the moon was full all night, so they had plenty of light at night.
Mhm.
All the conditions are wrong, but I'm still going because I got nothing better to do.
You never
right?
know. I mean,
You never know exactly. I
Stretch
either
his
sit at
legs.
home and think about it, and so I go out in the rain and I get set up, and I'm like, I got my little fucking umbrella, and it stops raining.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
You and freaking Greg, you and your umbrellas.
Why would you sit in the rain with no umbrella?
Good rain suit.
I got sleepy.
Yeah,
when
but
I
I got a
had
good
that
rain suit, but
like-
it's still it gets all in your.
Yeah.
Plus, an umbrella does give you some. It does break up
No,
your
it's
silhouette.
fine. Yeah.
Because if they're looking up and it's above you,
I'm
that's
not.
just kinda-
I'm not going in the rain. Just plain
Yeah.
and simple.
Well, I'm just saying sometimes I do.
I just like it.
But
I
I
like
notice
rain,
when
you
it
know.
stops
Yeah.
raining
Yeah.
is
Unless
when
there's light,
You better get
they
out
start,
and get in the
they
tree.
start
Yeah.
moving. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can, and there's a lot of times, middle of the day and stuff like that. There's going to be a little rain period. Go set your mess up and
Yeah.
Mhm.
be ready to get in it when it is. Watch the radar, pass it. Stuff like that. But
Reason I like to hunt the rain is one, most people don't. Period. Like even in surfing, it doesn't make sense. Like surfers, you'll get the best waves right at the end of the rain. It could be horrible and stormy, and all of a sudden that front moves in. And as soon as like right before it stops, it just glasses up. But surfers will leave, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. I get it.
The only reason why I don't
you're
like
already
surfing
wet.
when it rains in Riceville Beach is because that brings out sharks. Because
Well, I mean,
they
sharks are
they're
always
looking
out.
up like there's a lot of movement up there.
Yeah,
Like
but
they don't know it's raining.
that's like
they
saying-
just know there's like some
There's
food up there.
always sharks, though.
Especially after there's a storm, it excites all the
True,
fish
though, yeah, all the
kings
fish
and
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah.
They ready to
yeah.
bite,
it's
yeah.
pressure change as well.
Yeah.
But now down in Central America, there's no sharks, and it's not even a worry. They're not. I mean, they may be out there, but they haven't had an attack in say Costa Rica and Nicaragua since
Crocodiles.
the '60s. Well, saltwater crocs, but you can see them coming.
Yeah, they're all,
They're slow. I had one swim by me when I was in
Good
Costa
God,
Rica.
somebody.
It was only like that long, and once I realized what it was, I paddled up to kind of look at it, but he didn't pay me no attention. He or she.
Saltwater crocs are I don't mess with. There's gators out here in the lineup sometimes. times. They get out, they come out of, there was one, y'all know where Masonboro Island is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right there at the
They're more
inlet.
scared of you, though. They're not
Yeah.
gonna mess with you.
I'd be more worried about them darn snakes they showed out there on the beach.
Oh, yeah, there's snakes out there
yeah.
too. Yeah, I had one crossing the path one morning, and when it was a little it was red
it was
and
a
yellow
corn snake,
It was a
yeah.
pretty snake, but he didn't want to move, and I was like, buddy, I gotta walk past you. So I
Yeah,
Tackle
y'all
my
leave the
board.
snakes alone. Some of them are good. If
Yeah.
you're not educated enough on a snake, leave a damn
As long as they don't do like that when it,
Yeah.
that
If
mountain-
he
Yeah,
now,
I
I
don't-
can tell a venomous snake. I do have enough. Like the one that guy posted, I would have killed him. We got enough cottonmouths. We got enough copperheads. Like they breed. You know, they're not like
Don't
endangered.
get caught.
A rattlesnake, I'm killing. I don't give a
I ain't
shit.
saying
I'm killing that
Yeah,
motherfucker.
they're protected by our state. Anyway.
You'd hear me if I see one.
I'll kill
Yeah,
the fuck
come
out
you'll,
of
on,
him.
man.
you'll smell me if I see
Yeah.
one. Because I'm gonna shit my pants. Literally, probably will. Do you kick when I know early season scouting, or even when it warms up in the wintertime or the late fall? A snake could come out of hibernation, but just be blind, so they're more apt to strike.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So crossing over logs, man, I've gotten to a point where I kick logs,
Yeah.
or if I
Yeah.
I'll step up and then I'll a little bit.
They
longer
say we
step.
ain't got no rattlers out there, but about 2 years ago, I think I posted
I've
on the
never
page. Do
seen
we
a
have
rattlesnake.
rattlesnakes? Because I was walking up. I was walking out. It was from the morning. I think it was about noon, 1 o'clock. I was like tired of sitting, so I'm coming out, and it was hot. And I kind of got lost. Sometimes you think you got to walk this way, but you can just kind of drift to the left. I'm like, where the hell? And I heard a rattle, and it wasn't anything. And I was like, what the fuck? So I ran the fuck out of there. I was
I've
like,
never seen
no,
one on base.
I've never seen one, but I
Pygmy-
swear I heard
pygmy
it.
out there in HH.
timber rattlesnakes,
pygmy
the eastern
rattle.
timber rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Little rattlesnake, little ones.
Yeah.
Because Gray brought it up to headquarters. I think it's Gray. Brought it to headquarters. They
Probably so.
turned it loose behind the skinny
Y'all
fence.
heard that rattlesnakes have evolved to not rattle, right?
No.
Like they were getting targeted so much by predators that sometimes they won't even rattle. That was a big problem in Fort Polk, Louisiana, with the JRTC rotations because they warned us. They said, "Be careful, because you might not even hear them because maybe it's
Huh.
just the ones down there, but yeah, they evolved to not rattle anymore."
I found one in my
Yeah.
parents' yard.
That's
I mean, he was a
pretty
baby,
wild.
but it was a timber rat.
Big
crazy,
enough,
man.
Yeah, it was big enough to. I
Yeah.
killed his
Even a
ass.
black snake could sit there in the leaves and take its tail and
Yeah.
shatter it around.
I've always
Yeah, just to kind of act
I'm
like
like, you
This
can have
sounded
it.
like there was a baby out there with a rattler going, "Drrrr," and I was like, "Whoa, that was enough for me to run with my
Buddy-
climber on and everything."
Buddy Ard is tuned in. He says what's up to everybody.
Buddy Ard,
Yeah, he said-
he's the skull man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys, we'll give him a little plug here. Go
Buddy
see
Skull.
Buddy if you want to do a freaking Euro. He does an awesome job and he's quick and he's awesome price. The
Yeah.
Skull Project is the name of
Skull
his.
Yeah.
Project, is that what it's called
Yeah.
now? Yeah.
So
Bennett just used taxidermists, though. You don't mess with the
Well, I
skulls.
did get that one last year. And said if I wanted to get it mounted, we'd get a cape for it. But
nice.
I did actually put it on the wall out there with a Euro mount. First
Did
one
you?
I've ever done.
Yeah. Buddy said he was out in NTA 7 last week and he saw 2 rattlesnakes while training his dog. So
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I can see
Well,
what
we're
he-
getting
Yeah,
bear
yeah,
now
that's
too.
right.
You got people. I don't know if they're telling the truth, but they got
I
bear
got
on
a-
their cameras.
I have a video on my camera of a deer or of a bear last year,
well, there's bears for
Oh,
sure.
I
yeah.
shot a
Two
bear
different
3 years
occasions.
ago, not far
And-
from Bragg. I mean,
and I've hunted out there for not as long as some, but quite a long time, and that's the first one I've ever seen.
yeah.
There was a lady I remember. I don't know if y'all recall. Have you ever seen any bear out there, Bennett?
No.
No. Okay, well that's good.
But you know where I hunt at.
Yeah,
so-
Yeah. Well, that's good. There was a lady that was doing a school project with her kids about wildlife. And they had game cameras up just to observe, and there was a bear all over that camera. And it was a pretty decent sized one too.
Yeah. They're out
She's
there
from
now.
Rome
I think it was out by the NTAs.
Well, I don't know.
That'd be a good way
Have
to
we
get
ever
rid of
been able to
Spot if he
hunt?
sees a bear. He wouldn't go hunt our place down in Evans.
I think
You
I'm
remember
more
that?
worried about seeing a
Yeah.
meth head.
Yeah,
I am about
I'm
a
not
bear.
worried about it. A black bear, they're not gonna mess with you, man. But I tell you what, I shot one 3 years ago, 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Those I'm trying not to say the F word so much. They're scary, man. They're all muscle. They're
Mhm.
heavy.
Their curiosity scary too.
He was
Run up
about-
that
Yeah.
tree, too.
Yeah, I see videos where the bear climbs the tree. I'm like, I'd
keep
shoot him.
my nose.
I'd shoot him.
No, I gotta ask this guy. I'll get the video. One of my soldiers from Hawaii, when he came to Bragg, he had a bear climb up the tree he was in, and he posted a video of it. And that was here. At
That
Bragg.
was here.
But this was like in
Always.
2013. Yeah.
I don't doubt it. I mean, they're
I would've
starting to
shot
become
that bear
pretty
in the
regular.
face.
The hell with bears.
I had an owl. I was hunting out in
I'm
I was hunting in QQ one morning, and this is when I was new, and I got out there like 4:30 in the morning, like a dumbass. I'm sitting there, and there was a tree about 10 feet in front of me, and it had this long branch, and I sitting there in the dark, damn near asleep, and I heard it, the wings, and I froze, and I took my light, and I started shining on the ground. I looked up there, freaking owl was like that big. I could see his talons, and I put the light right in his face, and his head started doing the circle.
Man.
And I had my pistol on me. I'm not supposed to. I didn't know that at the time. And I was like gonna shoot him because I was scared of that. I'm in a tree stand. I didn't feel too
Yeah.
safe in it. No freaking safety harness. If that thing started getting at me, I would have been messing.
Something gotta go.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was almost. And then by the time I got my gun up, and I was like, I don't know, like icy fear. Like this is a predator gonna get me, and he took off and went to another branch and left me alone. But
Yeah.
I think I posted on the page, like, can I get him mounted? I called Peavy and I asked Peavy. He was like, no, no, prank caller, prank caller.
Yeah.
I've had
Josh.
them during the daylight sit there and look at you like, and then I take my orange hat going, wave at him because he looks like he wanted to come over there.
Hey, I've got a question for you. How many times on base have you, I've noticed it a little bit more off of base, but I have seen it on base as well. When people, a coyote, I shoot them Teddy Harris told us a long time ago, if you see a coyote, his smell's there, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Your hunt's pretty much ruined anyhow, especially bow hunting.
I don't know. I got another theory on that.
How many times have you been in the stand and seen a fox
Oh,
and
wow.
shortly after seen a nice buck?
They follow him.
Just don't never
It's-
shoot a fox.
Don't,
Because
don't,
that's one of the best
exactly.
covers you can get, I think.
I guarantee you, I don't
9 out
know
of
if
10
I've
times.
ever sat and seen a fox and not seen a buck
I
within
have.
I
a
have.
very short
Yeah,
time.
but that's what I was thinking, because I remember, I think you were talking about that. I think I texted you that
He
night. I was
posted
up
a
in the
video.
trees. Yeah, we were both
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
and I said,
They'll bark.
little fox came up and was
Oh,
just
I got,
sitting.
yeah, I
he was
got a
looking
video
around.
of one barking at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool, man. They're cool.
I heard, now this is a theory that I heard, and I've only ever seen a few coyotes. I can never get a shot on them because I'm always bow hunting. But in Alabama, where I started hunting down there, I don't know if it was my father-in-law that told me or not, or one of his friends, but said that a mature buck will follow a coyote.
Yeah, I've seen it out there. In
Yeah,
that one
because
area.
that he
Man,
knows
I
he's
don't-
safe.
I don't
As
know.
long as that coyote's out in front of him, he can smell him. He ain't worried about him, so he'll follow the scent
Like
of the coyote.
he's checking on
And
it.
that
Yeah.
makes sense because I don't know. I don't know how the predatorial stuff works, but I would think that a fawn, with her mom, a doe with a fawn would be more receptive, would be scared of a coyote versus
yeah,
what a
yeah.
big buck would be.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
also too, Fort Bragg, some of their studies showed that, the predatorial rate and stuff like that, and them working together and different things like that to actually gang up on deer
Oh yeah.
was the only place in the South, and it was the only place really in the United States other than the extreme north where it was really cold and stuff like that.
Have you ever
So-
watched those remember back in the day when you could watch like Nat Geo or Discovery was actually not reality shows and watch like
Yeah.
wolves or wild dogs and how they hunt in a pack and how they move and everything
Yeah.
with no voice communication, not being able to write, the way that they pull off the hunt as a team,
Oh yeah.
like, and how they move, like, you'll have like the second in charge will be in the front of the pack.
Mhm.
And then they put all the sick and all the old and the little ones in the middle, and then the pack leader, he'll walk like, half a mile or
Yeah.
so behind,
Mm.
just to kind of watch over them. But when
Yeah.
they go in to move, they go in a line, and one splits off, and then the other one's, it's unbelievable.
Pride of Lions does the same thing. The females are more the predominant hunters,
That's the only hunters.
where they spend more time wearing the animal down, and once they basically, like a wildebeest or something like that,
Mhm.
once they basically wear him out, then the big
I never seen that.
what would it, they would
The male
the
lion?
male lion would actually come in and bite him on the neck and use his weight to topple him.
Oh,
over.
okay,
Lay on the
okay.
tree,
They
down
would
there.
do-
Because I always saw the male lion would just be in the woods chilling,
He's
waiting, like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
daddy hungry, hoes, get that shit.
Yeah, y'all get
And they
this
kill it,
thing,
and they
man.
all go away. But even
Yeah.
like the dogs, man, like the pack will kill the animal, and then they all get away from it, and then the alpha male comes
Oh.
in, gets to eat the liver,
Yeah.
eats the liver first, goes in through the ass and pulls it out, and they all wait. And when he's done with that, and he says they can, then they all go to
It's
eat.
funny.
So we got.
Funny, your butts form first, and that's the first thing they eat as a predator.
That's the oldest
Yeah.
part of your
Yeah,
body.
it's the only part of your body
Hey.
is the butthole. But hey, seriously, we got minutes, so let's the hell with
Yeah.
Lions. Let's talk
We
about
got
it.
Little Soldier Boy 4444.
Soldier Boy.
Don't know who that is, but if you
Is that the dance?
if you're my friend and yeah, he said he was hunting in area T a few years ago and he had a fox chase away a nice 8-point that he's about to shoot. But can you hunt fox on Bragg?
They're predators.
I think you can, but
I think there's a season.
I just don't
Yeah.
shoot foxes because I think they're cool.
like
I'll
bobcats,
shoot it.
there's like, yeah, I don't need it.
See, I don't.
Bobcats are jerks.
I shoot
Yeah.
bobcats.
Bobcats.
I've already shot 4 of them in my
I
whole
hope they
career.
all die. They're like a possum. They're terrible on a turkey pole.
Last year I watched a daggone fox came by right there where I hunt at, and the daggone bobcat was stalking.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting ready to hear something going on in here. I never did.
Have y'all ever seen him walk through the woods?
No.
Man, he'll walk 100 yards and touch the ground like 4 times. It's
No,
the
just
most
quiet.
miraculous shit you've ever seen. Yeah, he looks like a ballerina when he goes through the woods, man.
Well, I know he's quiet 'cause he
He'll
snuck
bow-
up on me freaking when I pulled
Yeah,
up
it's-
and saw his Jeep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But
That's cool.
when you're scouting, BT, do you spend? Okay, for example, November. Are you going to spend a majority of your day walking and scouting, or are you going to spend a majority of your day in the tree stand?
In the tree stand.
Okay, so you're going to get everything out of the way prior to.
After I eat, I might go out there and walk and sit the scrapes to freshen up or something, or like you said, go to a new area and check it out.
Are you a late sitter in the mornings?
Yeah,
Are you?
What time are you getting in the stand in the morning?
most of the time before daylight.
Before daylight, yeah. Because I was gonna say, a lot of times, a lot of times me and Randy will meet up at, the parking lot at McKellar's before we go out.
That's Robert Dwayne.
And you'll be driving by, so I know he gets in early. So, we just got into a little bit of his psyche. So you are when you're scouting and you're looking for an area, you found an area, oaks, food, obviously, whatever it is. Now you're looking for scrapes, deer activity, rubs.
Yeah.
And where are you setting up off of that? Are you setting right up? Because I've seen pictures now.
I get in range of a scrape.
You get right in the middle. Yeah, okay. Because I've heard people say, "Oh, don't hunt the scrapes," and I'm like, "Well, BT hunts scrapes, so I'm
How
gonna
many
hunt
you kill
scrapes."
on a scrape? How many of your bigger deer have you killed, like actually in a scrape, not going?
Most of them.
Most of 'em?
They were either winding it right there at it or in it, or
Really?
going by it. Yeah.
That's pretty
And
wild, man.
and what's
Yeah.
crazy is that there was one that I was hunting, and I learn every time I go hunting, calling them and all. Oh, I had a buck come out and he was eating leaves off a bush, and he started walking away from me, and I grunted, and I'm sitting there and he didn't do it, and I did it again, and he went over there and started tearing up a tree. Well, I grunted again, and he walked off. If I'd have just wouldn't have said
Just
nothing,
waited.
he was getting ready when he started rubbing that tree. He was getting mad.
Yeah,
So I
he's trying to
think-
get himself to.
We've discussed this, and would you agree the best thing is just to be quiet, like that, like
Yeah.
the one man orchestra?
Yeah, one
But
man man in
yeah.
the tree stand.
When do you
Yeah.
use calls? Like, what time of year are you starting to use calls? At what point in the day? Do you blind calling, just trying to maybe get their attention to come in, or do you wait till you see something?
Around Halloween. I
Around
started
Halloween.
using it.
This is
Yeah. That's when things start firing up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my
Pre-rut,
favorite.
man. I'm telling you, man. Pre-rut to me is
Absolutely.
as much fun to hunt because the rut they're so damn unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if wherever that doe goes, he's gonna.
Yeah, that's when I switched to food.
It seems like
Mm-hmm.
Halloween,
Gotta eat.
Yeah, the does do. They don't care. They're not gonna change.
Uh-huh.
You know?
but there's always that time in like November, that one weekend when you know the rut's kicked, because that's when everybody goes out, and there's more hunters out there, obviously,
Yeah.
because they wait for the November, like, I don't know, November 10th, 12th time frame, and then they kill a bunch of deer, and then it gets real quiet. And I always feel like there's like a week where I don't see shit. I don't see
Yeah.
nothing.
Well, man,
My
that's-
scrapes aren't getting hit. There's nothing on my cams. It's like they go take a break or they go on vacation or.
Well, you know, a lot of people call it an October lull, but that's not a lull. The damn deer have to move. I mean, it's.
I know. I'm just saying, based on like my own experience. I'm
Because
not
they
saying that's
figured-
what happened. I'm not
they
saying they go on
figured-
vacation.
They
It seems
figured-
like it.
they figured you out.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
all they've done.
Yes, that's definitely. I tell
And-
you what, man.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have you had a deer? Let's say a tree stand when you were really diligent about hunting the same tree. This is a tree I like to hunt. How many times have you seen an old doe walk out and do that?
Oh yeah, about running into a daggone
year
tree
later.
looking.
Really.
Yeah, a year
Yeah.
later.
Those are curious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, I tell a lot of people a lot of times, man, you kill an old doe on Bragg Hill, you've done better than most people that killed a big buck.
Yeah.
Remember that one I was telling them I shot that day with you and Hutch when Eddie Spears was saying, "Oh, I shouldn't shoot does," and I shot that one that Chris said was 13 and a half.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think they lived that long, man.
Randy
You said
shot-
that.
Randy shot a 9-year-old.
I watched her walk across the
Yeah.
paper and
Yeah.
out of the
Well,
impact zone.
We were hunting a food field one time, and Johnson said, "You hunt this end." I got in a pine tree, and when I moved, it would sway.
Yeah.
Well, he's hunting way up there at the other end of it, and I'm sitting here and I look off to the right, and it comes out I think the woods come out like a point, and I was up here, and the dude come out, and I seen Jonathan draw back. I'm like, he ain't gonna shoot that
Well,
far.
you told me
is
you
he?
couldn't shoot.
I know. I
Yeah.
wasn't worried about me shooting it. I
Yeah.
was like, damn, he's gonna shoot that deer that far.
How far? How
He
many
shot-
yards was it?
Good gosh, I don't know, but up the damn arrow went.
Oh, I remember. I remember the.
Did you
big
hit
one.
it?
Oh,
He
yeah, I
killed
it.
Oh,
Yeah, I shot her at 81 yards.
damn. That's
It was
ballsy.
funny because I'm like,
Watching a
damn,
limit.
I wouldn't even pick my bow up at that far.
Yeah.
What's
The backstory on that was BT. There's some does coming into a food plot every evening, and this was when you and I were hunting. I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't have. I mean, I just had a job basically. Out of college, nothing to do.
Yeah.
You and I were hunting literally 4 or 5 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, this guy, man, every day.
It was just cool watching him. I mean, I wish I had it video when I'm like, I'm getting ready to shoot that deer.
I remember we gave up on that deer, and we found some blood and stuff like that, and we were walking. We're like, well, hell with it. We're gonna leave. We're coming, walking around and go back to the truck. Bam!
Step right
Right
on
there.
it.
Yeah, literally about stepped on her.
That was fun.
Furthest shot I got is, I want to say about 40 yards, and it turned out to be when I shot that fawn, and I didn't know at the time that it was legal, it was okay, so I had it in the back of my truck, and I'm like, I ain't gonna leave it out here, and I mulled it over. I think I called some people. I think it was Randy was like, it's illegal, so I was gonna have to like put it in the spare tire carrier and get it home. And
God, dude.
like I called Jeff. Is it Jeff? Is that his name? The old
Yeah,
and he was like, "No, bring it in. That'll be some good meat." I was like, "Oh shit, okay."
So,
I think I might have been halfway home.
little, just to people out there watching, I could do the podcast spiel, but we hit 100 subscribers.
We're at
So-
104.
104, so that's a milestone for
Wow.
us. But I do want to we have a live chat going on, so.
Mhm.
But our buddy Andrew, Surfing Andrew from Carolina Beach.
Hey,
he
what's
said
up, dude?
He's a good hunter too. He said that in Central North Carolina, he said those big bucks will challenge. He's seen bucks challenge coyotes during the rut.
Really?
And he said when he shot his first deer, it was chasing a coyote. Yeah.
Wow. I was
So that
thinking
makes
I can
sense.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
I wish they would.
Get tired of
Yeah.
that mess.
Yeah, and then Robert Dwayne, that's the Soldier Boy 444, and yeah, he just. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and thanks for the support. But yeah, BT, I was gonna ask you, what's the most like you'll take a shot at, personally?
Like
what's
distance?
do you have a rule where you see a nice deer and it's in a questionable range? Will you go for it, or will you just let it walk?
If I think it's 30 yards or under, I'll shoot.
30 yards or under?
Nothing no further.
Yeah. What's the longest shot you ever took?
About 30.
30.
Yeah, and that one I shot that time that
Oh yeah.
went over and
You want to do that?
said don't get out of the tree.
Bennett, how many
That's-
deer we killed together?
That
Which one?
small body one, the first Pope and Young I killed.
Oh, the November 8th. That's what I call
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, the one we
Well-
took at Teddy.
I watched the deer for 30 minutes under this big southern red oak tree, and I'm like, he's out of range. And then like 3D shooting, I started looking at the woods, and then he was across the fire break, and I'm like, I finally realized he was 30 yards, and then I started shaking.
Yeah. So you
And I
still
shot
get
him.
that.
I shot him. I was like, oh my God, he's been 30 yards the whole
The
time.
whole time.
And somebody could have jogged right by it any time.
Yeah. I've not taken. Where was I at? I was out near one of the drop zones, and it was when I first started bow hunting, and I had like the 3 pins, and as soon as I pulled it back, I was like, I don't know how far it is. What pin do I use? So I just made it. I looked and I made it, and I should be good with range estimation. Being in infantry, it's one of the things we test on is range estimation. And I said, that's about 45 yards, and I put that pin, 45-yard pin or 40-yard pin on her, and it went about 20 feet above her.
Oh, man.
And when I got down and actually looked at where she was at, it was like 20 yards.
That angle will get you.
It
Yeah,
does.
There's
mean,
a lot goes on when you're doing
It
stuff
is.
like that.
I was actually looking at that the other day.
That's what gets me.
Yeah.
That's why I shoot over.
I use
not
that
the
single
biggest thing.
pin.
You don't. Yeah, I use one pin.
I
don't-
one pin, and I'll go ahead, and what I do is I'll get in the tree, and if I'm hunting one of my historical spots, I kind of know, but I take my rangefinder and I say, okay, that pine tree is 20 yards, and then I'll know that I can draw like a circle around me, and I'll know, and if he's coming or it's coming, I'll be able to say, okay, I'll wait for him to come in this area.
Illinois
And I'll
broke
slide it
me
up and
on one
down.
pin.
Have y'all ever done this? And I did this when I first started bow hunting because I didn't have a rangefinder or anything. But I was just want to see if I'm the only one, but I would take just a crappy arrow. That's one of my spares. It's like my target arrow with a field point on it. When I get up in my stand, I would shoot almost like a range marker at the ground
Yeah.
to make sure that. So y'all done that?
I've
before?
never done it. I've thought about
Until I hit a
doing it.
rock and it
Hey,
freaking.
back
Throw it down.
before rangefinders were a thing, or even affordable to hunters for the most part. Jackie Bushman, he had on the Buckmaster TV show, he had that tips and techniques. You remember
Yeah.
when he was shooting some damn deer in Montana? 'Cause that's where he hunted. Montana or Alabama, that's where they always
Yeah.
hunted. But he had a thing, and it was using back in those days the Easton aluminum arrows. They'd always break. So he
Oh,
he
yeah.
had a
Yep, I
thing
remember
where
those.
they would go to their stands, and his tip was put one at 20, 30, and 40, but use a little bit of cotton with dough pea on it or something. That way,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
That's
So,
good. Yeah,
if you
yeah.
can't,
Kill
there's,
two birds with one rock.
there's always a way around. That's what I tell people all the time is, man, if you can't afford everything, you can still go deer hunting.
Yeah, what I did before I had a rangefinder, is I would walk, cause I could pace out,
Yeah.
my pace is 3 feet. And I would take the little, the little orange tag. Matter of fact, there's some spots where I walk through and I find them from like, 7, 8 years ago, they're still like dried up there in the
Oh,
tree.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I would put like I had pink and blue and orange, and I would have like 10, 20, 30. And just from that, I would be able to almost, like I said, draw a circle again. So if I'm over on this side,
Yeah.
I can kind of, and that helps. But rangefinder really helps.
We got a question from Joshua Yoon. Thanks for turning in, Josh. I think that's the guy that cooks a lot, isn't it? No.
Yeah,
Y'all know yeah.
that is the.
He's the one I had to delete your damn comment off Facebook the other day.
Mine.
You did something on Facebook, on the club Facebook page, and I had to delete it.
Probably threw a GD on Josh.
No.
Looks like a child pasture.
No, Josh Yoon, he asked, I don't know if you were following, he said, hey, you ever think about making a zip up hoodie? And I wasn't doing nothing. I was laying in bed with my iPad, so I made the hoodie to order. He wanted gray. So I made the hoodie, and you put on there for the gays.
No.
Yeah, you did. I
I
deleted
did
it. Yeah, you did. I took it
didn't.
off.
Okay. Anyhow, he has a question.
I can go back and look.
He's got
I'll
a
show
question
you.
for BT.
I think he was drunk.
Yeah, I might have been. My bad. Don't take it personally. He said, Bennett, do you tend to see bigger bucks out in the open or in the thick stuff? And do you have any advice for finding buck beds on Bragg?
I see them out in the open.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the crazy things, they just lay random sometimes. I mean, like a little gallberry bushes or just the head of a swamp.
Okay.
They'll lay in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of those little low swampy areas too.
And those little heads,
Yep.
a little thicket around here, like ain't nothing in there. Remember one time I was hunting and I kept forgetting stuff when I was rifle hunting, and I kept walking by this little head right on the fire break over off the bone.
No, you don't have to say. I know what you're talking about.
It's hard sometimes. You're like, I
I
gotta.
remember it's about gone now though. If you've been by there, I remember
Well,
that.
it said
Man, it's
unisex, that's
it's
why.
about gone.
I walked by there 3 times. I got up in the tree, and when the sun went down, the doe got up and walked out of there. And it wasn't no bigger than this room.
Wow.
David Bishop hunted that place every day for 4 years.
God.
Yeah, that's where you killed the 8-winter rifle. Last year you rifle hunted.
Yeah.
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 How many times you missed that deer? Remember that?
No. Well, the scope mount was broke.
Yeah, the scope mount was broke. Remember
Me
when
and
we
Gray
shot it?
hunted, and
Yeah.
I missed in 1 week during Thanksgiving week. I missed 7 deer on that one fire break.
Wow.
And you know
Different
what he shoots
bugs.
at.
Huh?
And you know what he shoots at.
Yeah.
That was
That's
your
gotta
last
hurt.
year rifle hunt, wasn't it?
Yeah, and well, the last one I killed one over in Q. I'll just say where it's at, but Matt Jr. was one.
That was 99 when you shot that deer.
Yeah, I shot, and he come up there, and he said, "What you got?" And I looked in the back of the truck. He said, "Man, I can't believe you shot that buck." I told him, I said, "I'll never shoot another deer with a rifle again."
Man, that's the thing about Bragg. It's funny because like there's a lot of shit talking and a lot of but pretty much I love it because whenever someone gets a nice buck, everyone always thinks it's the buck that was in their area that they've been stalking all year.
Yeah.
And everyone's like trying to throw little hints like, I'm not trying to ask where you shot that buck, but I have one just like that on my camera.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah.
My
But-
dad back in the
Yeah.
day, man, my dad, Donald Hutchison, remember Virgil Murphy?
Yeah.
Dan, they were pretty much, Al Cromer.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was one of them. Al's killed some hellacious deer.
He
on
get one
Bragg.
every year, at least.
Freddie Caston.
Yeah, I got him on Facebook now.
I do too. Even you know, like Dean and them boys, you know, because that's when y'all were working with Dad, and Dad would let y'all go. Y'all learned a lot back then.
Dean bring
And-
them back and skin them up in the daggone
Yeah.
hanger.
But it would get to the point like before cell cameras and social media, you know, people it's easy to follow somebody now if you really want to.
Yeah.
But one of the guys, I'm not gonna name any names, but my dad, they called it Bobcat Alley, and I remember he kept following my dad and Bennett and Donald and all those guys away. Followed my dad one morning. My dad went and got in the stand in the jack wagon, climbed a dead pine tree,
Oh, shit.
and about daylight, the son of a bitch fell over.
Oh, man, yeah.
Fell over on him. Yeah. You remember who that was?
Mm-mm.
Old Loud Wayne.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
He,
scary.
he one time he said, "Take me hunting, Benny."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah.
And I took him over to W, which was a real good area right there where I was hunting at.
Still is.
He went in there and looked around and he said, "Okay, man, I'll see you later." He didn't like it.
Really?
I said,
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, I notice like I second guess myself. I'm like, man, this is a horrible spot, but sure enough, it's always produces like. Oh, going back to about shooting an arrow too. Another reason I do that, I'm gonna start doing it again because that doesn't matter how many times you've hunted. You know, there's sometimes, especially if, I don't know, you use a climber.
"Yeah, that
But you-
lone wolf hand."
Yeah,
I got
I've gotten
five of 'em.
I've gotten up in a
Still got
spot.
mine?
Yeah, I got 5 of them now.
Oh,
You got,
man.
you got my
Sick.
rubber one and the metal one?
Yeah.
Dude.
I've gotten up in a spot and thought everything was perfect, and as soon as I go to draw my bow, there's something up there in that tree that's stopping me from getting a good angle.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I always do a self check.
Saddle
Same, yeah.
will cure that if you, like I said,
I'm gonna
about
try
4
it.
years ago when saddles first got
This will be my first year.
Oh,
big, I bought one, and I bought it used, but I got the tethered and all that stuff, and I had a pretty good backyard. I had about an acre backyard, and I practiced with it and got to where I was shooting. Where you know, there's different ways you can put that rope across your chest and lean out. You can really get the range around the tree. You can hang off the tree and almost be laying flat, and you can still pull as long as you can get.
Wow.
And I was doing all, but what stopped me from using it and why I sold it was I'm lazy. And the time it takes for me to like walk through, you're carrying all this stuff, you're wearing the damn harness. It's usually hot, you
I
know.
think it's less stuff though. Personally,
Nah.
with the exception of a set of
No.
sticks.
We also have to have a climbing competition.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
smoke. I'm not even worried
They-
about that.
They made a bet last time.
Yeah, he reckon he can get 20 feet in a saddle before I can get up in my summit climber. There ain't no way. There's
I'm
just
telling
no way.
you, man.
You ever sat-
Because you have to find your tree, and it does now. You can
No, we're gonna pick two
you can
trees side
pick
by
any
side.
tree you want because you as long as you can get your your rope around it to get your ladder or whatever you want to call it, climbing stick. And you can climb a tree that's crooked, and it does help, and you do get a better range. But by the time I get to the bottom of my tree, all I got to do is within like 20 seconds, I'm already halfway up. You know what I mean? I put the wire around, boom, I clip it.
It's a tool.
And I get
though.
up.
It's like we spoke last time. I want to be in the tree. I want to
Yeah,
be
exactly,
by the
and
tree,
that and
but
you're
I
gonna
have
love
to
it for
be-
that reason.
See,
I
and
mean,
I'm not gonna use it. There's no way I'm going to Fort Bragg with just my saddle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I go for the day, I'm gonna have my climber. And
Yeah.
you bought my old lone wolf. That's when I told y'all last time I quit deer hunting. I called him. I was like, "You want to buy my lone wolf?" He's like, "Yeah, man, bring it to me." So he bought.
is it
my
steel
lone
or
wolf.
aluminum?
It's cast aluminum, and it has rubber for the cables. I
Mhm.
should say,
Yeah,
lack of better words.
Yeah, it's like a
Rubber,
some
plastic
yeah.
rubber or something.
Dude, they're whisper quiet. They fold up. You can pull your seat back in a standard cab truck and set it behind your seat.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean they're killer
I can carry it to the
stands.
swamp.
Um,
Oh yeah.
in I use a Summit Century now, which has the same like the compression seat, like the what is that? The Millennium lock-ons. You know how they have their seats, that black mesh
Yeah.
stretch seat.
Summit makes one with a seat like
Well,
that.
they did. It's called the Century SD.
I don't-
And they
yeah.
quit making them. If you find one, just buy it. I'll give you your money back.
Yeah.
But there's nowhere in that stand, just like a lone wolf is like sitting in a lock on. There's nowhere in that stand I cannot shoot. But the tree limitation is what I mean. I've gotten trees before, cutting stuff. I've gotten to a Y before and literally taken my top piece and taking the cable off.
Yeah.
You know, putting
Oh,
it
yeah.
to get where I need to be,
Yeah.
and you know,
I've done that a couple
Yeah, it's
Like,
sketchy as
yeah,
hell.
man.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And
Yeah.
I literally got just, I was like, man, I can't do this any longer. I got 2 kids. I can't fall out of a freaking tree.
Yeah, I've
with a
had,
whitetail.
I've literally, like I did it last year. I was climbing a new tree and I wanted to go higher, but there was a nice branch that I thought would be like some good cover.
Mhm.
So I would sit underneath it and it would give me the cover, but it was only like 15 feet off the ground and I wanted to go higher. I take that bitch apart,
Oh,
put it over, lock it, and do that, and have to do that in the dark coming down with no safety harness and all that.
Yeah.
And 15 feet ain't bad, to be honest.
Yeah,
If
but
you got cover,
here's the
right?
thing: the branch was about 15, so that means for me, I'm 6 feet tall, so my climber now is like what 8 feet off the ground, if that, you know. So
Yeah.
it was an area. There was all those scrub oaks, like 6 foot
Blackjacks.
tall blackjack oaks. So I wanted to
Bam,
get
baby,
up
right in front
above
of
it. You know, I didn't want to be within, and it was kind of coming down. It was by that area that you showed me, that big one out towards the drop zone area, out in that area, that big one you were chasing. I think you might have missed him out there. But right when you come into that area, there's like an area off to the right that's just all, I mean, they've got all the pine trees pretty much out of it. It looks almost like,
I love them blackjacks, man.
Oh,
When
man,
it gets cold,
yeah.
they love to stay in them.
and they seem to walk through it like Randy used a good analogy, like they feel like they're invisible, like they have a cloak on,
Yeah.
because they're down here and they feel like they're covered, but if you're up high enough and you can see
You
down,
can see in them, and that's
Yeah.
I've noticed too. I don't know if you differ, but I've noticed a lot too when it gets cold. Do you notice the deer don't bed in the swamps, the reed beds,
Yeah.
quite as often as
Yeah,
they
they
do?
lay up in that sun.
They lay in that south side of a ridge with those blackjacks because I feel like
Mhm.
they draw heat as
Mhm.
well.
they probably
Um,
insulate a little bit.
And them bucks during that second rut, if you get right on the edges of them, they'll scent check them just like they will the edge of a swamp. You know, when they come working through and stuff like that. So
I don't know why in my head, for some reason, I guess just the way I was raised in hunting, was the guys that I hunted with, they would go out before dark and they would sit till about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and they'd go out, eat lunch, breakfast, dinner, go back out about 3:30, 4. And every time, it seems like every time I'm like, I should sit longer, but sometimes I don't like the spot I'm in.
Mhm.
And this time, last year, I wanted to go out to Area W, but I didn't. I went to this other spot. I think it was raining.
stay away from W.
Why? Yeah. No. I got a good spot out there that I was scouting, but I never hunted it. But it was raining, so I went to I have a blind set up for like my girlfriend and my kid. If I take them, I got a blind. So it was raining, it was cold, so I figured I'm gonna go sit in that. But after the sun came up, it stopped raining and it got real sunny. So I'm sitting there like, if I leave now, but I don't want to leave during like prime morning time. But on the way out, it was like 10:30. I'm headed out and I'm hurrying, trying to get over to W. And I saw some movement. I looked over and there was a freaking, as I drove by, there was a buck. And I mean, he was 10 point. He looked like a moose. He didn't have like the pretty, like what you killed. It looks like he was like stupid wide. Like maybe his horns got broke early on and they regrew, like very non-typical, and they were really dark. And I remember they were like this wide. They weren't that tall, you
Like
know,
older
almost
deer.
like an older.
Yeah.
And he just stopped and looked at me over his shoulder, and I just drove by because I've made the mistake of stopping before, and I drove about a good 30 yards down, stopped my truck, I got out, and this is legal, right? I didn't kill him from the truck, and I got out and I walked over towards the area. Now I should have went a little slower, but this is a big deer.
Excited.
This is a big deer. This is gonna make me win Randy's competition, right? And I come up over I had to walk up like this little berm off the fire break. Where'd he go? And I see him, and he sees me, and I lost him in my scope for a second, and I seen his head, and I was like, okay, in my mind he was facing this way, or his ass was facing to my left, so I didn't want to miss shooting him in the head, so I went down and to the left, and I shot, and I saw through the leaves that thing rolled over. Boom! And I looked down, and I looked over, and there was the freaking buck, and he took off. And I'm like, well, I saw him go down. I know I hit him, so I go over there and look for blood, and it was a doe.
Tendon.
Yeah,
why he didn't
that's why I didn't run. But had I went down to the right, or just took the
They were
headshot,
facing each other.
yeah. So they were
Oh,
facing each other.
God.
I didn't see the doe. Like I didn't see her. She might have ducked down. I don't know. But he was a monster, and I think I
That's what you
cried.
get for road hunting.
That's not road hunting. I got out of my
I
car.
remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what.
You should
That
have a bow.
I think I looked for that deer. Like I was like, man, because I shot at him while he was running.
That's a sick feeling.
Yeah, it
But
was
I
bad.
I can't say much, man. We were in GG. Oh, I don't know. Probably. God, it seems like it hadn't been that long, but it's probably 15 or 20 years ago. And we were riding down the road scouting. That's kind of what I'll break an area down. Like I'll ride the fire breaks right quick, and if I see something worth getting out, then I'll jump out and start walking. Then anyhow, but I told my buddy Mike that was with me, we bumped a doe and she hopped off. He said, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Man, she's dumb enough to stand there. I'm gonna get my damn bow out and shoot her." Sure enough, she stood there.
Long enough for you to get out the truck and get your bow?
I got
Yeah.
yeah. So he was like, "You think that's?" I was like, "Man, it doesn't matter. She dumb enough to stand there this whole time."
Yeah.
That's early season.
Hey, real quick, before we go any further, let me just plug the stickers. I did pull them out. You guys all got one.
I was just
Being
thinking
good.
about how we would
Nice.
do this
It
giveaway.
is.
how they're
Yeah,
gonna
so-
end.
I don't know if y'all can see it, but I
Here,
did
I
post a
got you.
picture of it. It's a pretty dope sticker.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
So what we're gonna do is pick some random name off of the whoever commented, and you're gonna get a free one.
Yeah, we got to figure.
The-
So
the-
we've got 15.
The stickers cannot be ordered online, and that's not. I'm not making enough money on these stickers for me to like come to your house and deliver them. So if you want one, they're $6 a piece, and you can just call me. And if you want to come to my house and get it, if you want a sticker that bad, I'll tell you where I live. You can come get it, or you can wait for the season when I'm out there, and I'll usually go to the skin shed after a hunt and be hanging out. But
So check this out.
we'll work it out. And if you, one more thing, if you're out of the country or out of state and you want one, if you order 2 of them and pay the shipping, I will send them to you. But
So-
please order 3 or 4.
We're gonna do a giveaway today with whoever's listening, since to celebrate our hunt. Buddy and I talked about this last week. Celebrate our 100 viewers or 100 subscribers. So if you want to qualify to win a free sticker, go to our page. Go to the How Copy Podcast page on Facebook. Should we like that?
However you want to do it.
And just PM your name, all right? And tomorrow by 8 p.m. we'll do a random drawing. And how many people you want to pick?
It's just one,
Just
man.
one?
That's,
Okay.
those things cost. Those things ain't free.
Yeah.
They ain't
So
cheap.
we'll pick.
Some guys had one sticker.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's do 5, and I'll pay for them.
okay, 5.
So 5 people go on Facebook, How Copy Facebook, and PM your name, and 5 people, and we will we'll do a drawing randomly, and by 8 p.m. tomorrow night we'll get you a free sticker.
Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you look down on the bottom, there's a little button right about down there that says share. Click that button and then hit copy link, go to your Facebook page, and post it in there. So if we've got like 300 people watching our podcast, which is good, and it's all mainly local.
Yeah.
If we could get 3,000,
That'd be awesome.
30,000,
Yes, sir.
you know, it would be good. So if you would just, it's not hard, just share it. You know what I mean? Even if you don't know anybody that hunts, we get the views. Somebody might click it and just check it out. Who knows? They may get into hunting because of it.
So
What?
Brian Ward asks about the stickers. He says, do we have to wait until Randy kills one to see you at the skinning shed to get a sticker?
Who the fuck is that?
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Maybe that guy is an
Either I know him or he follows the page and follows mine and Randy's shenanigans.
That's pretty
Clifford.
That might be Randy.
That's Clifford Jones.
Cliff Jones. Cliff-
That's another old.
Yeah.
Cliff, he did the podcast last year when I
Cliff
first
Jones
started
is
it.
saying, he says deer competitor hunters. He said he's killed a bunch between 10:30 and 2.
Yeah.
That's another good point too. Like, you know, that's the time it seems everybody wants to get out of the woods, go take a breakfast break. But
That's because it's good for
Yeah.
like if you think about your hunting on the weekend.
Take your breakfast with you.
You work all week. You know, a lot of guys like I always feel sorry for guys because I go hunting whenever I want. You know what I mean? I actually got into, like I said before, I got into the business I am in because of the hunting season. So I set my schedule up. But if I could only go on Saturday, and you know, if you got a wife that's not like cool, which 90% of wives aren't cool with you just working all week and then being gone the entire weekend, you know, she wants her time too. Selfish. You know,
It's only 3.
it's only 3 months. You get the other 9. That's what I used to tell my ex-wife. Like, you get your way like 95% of the time. Can you just deal with the 5%?
I used to tell my wife, I'm like, man, one more week, and deer season's over. She's like, yeah, then it's fishing.
Yeah, right.
Then it's turkey hunting.
And then like
it's
my
duck hunting.
marriage would traditionally always end every year at like January.
That's
even
the
though it
catch.
didn't end, it was on the verge, and it was like I was living in my camp, and I would always think, why didn't this fucking happen in September? You know?
So PT,
That's the way in my mind. I could have more time in the woods.
just want to pick your brain a little bit because we got you here and you're a special guest. But there's a lot of new people that hunt every. I talked to a bunch of people last year that didn't even know there was hunting at Bragg, and they said they were going to get their stuff together and hunt this year. And then there's people who've been, we got the Army, so you get guys from all over the U.S. have different hunting techniques.
Oh yeah.
And I always like to harp on this because you really have to break your pattern what you're used to. Because when I first started hunting here, I was taught to hunt by a dude that grew up out west. So he was hunting elk. So his idea of hunting is you scout, you walk quietly through the woods, and you try to find a deer. Which
Stalking.
yeah. Have you ever shot one from the ground out here?
Couple.
Couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And it's just maybe I should take my bow with me or something.
Yeah.
But I can't hardly shoot off the ground. I don't know why. I mean, back when I shoot 3D a little bit, it was fun.
Yeah.
But I need to be up in the tree to be able to see.
That's one thing I wish.
Friggin' hunter, when you can't shoot off the ground.
Spend a lot of time in a tree.
Yeah.
Have you hunted anywhere else, or have you always hunted Fort Bragg?
I've hunted game lands some, and I've hunted a couple of private lands, but mostly Fort
Do
Bragg.
you attack the game lands the same way you do Fort Bragg?
Yeah.
Trail, look for
Yeah.
tracks on the fire breaks and whatever.
Mhm.
I got a question for you.
So you're just lucky because you're not doing anything different than like
I use-
most
yeah,
people.
I
You're
use
just
a lot
really
of
quiet. Maybe you
Yeah.
sit real still
Peaceful,
because
yeah.
I don't. I move
Yeah.
around a lot.
Okay,
I'm usually up there like
where
tree shaking.
where you're at, evidently, wherever you're hunting at, there's people following you, A,
Oh,
because
yeah.
they know who you are, B, because your car, and you're not very good at hiding your vehicle.
No, you park
need to
it.
you need to get a new hunting truck and just not tell
Or do
anybody.
you need to start parking in an area
And
so
walk.
people think? Because I ain't gonna lie, about year 2, you used to park off that certain street right over where the bridge went over. You back your Jeep in right there. I knew exactly who you were
Yeah.
and where you were hunting, and I did not go into your direct area once I found that out when I came out. But I did get attracted to that certain area because of that.
Yeah.
Even though I'm usually on the way other
Oh,
side
yeah,
of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not this year though, baby, because I seen
Seen
woo, I seen them. I seen them,
Back
and
when
I
we
almost pumped them full of 9mm too, but I didn't.
He might be in trouble this year. He's getting a little older now.
Yeah, I know. What do you think what do you think he's gonna be size wise? He
If
looked
he's any bigger,
big last year.
If he's any bigger, he's gonna be the boom.
Oh my God, this deer. Have you seen him?
No, I'm not hunting over there with y'all.
Oh my God, if you see
Anyhow.
this deer.
With where you're hunting, evidently, there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So, what do you do different as far as scouting, tree stand placement? What are you looking for that's out of the norm? Every damn thing out there is wiregrass, loblollies, and
Yeah.
and goggle
I get
bushes.
somewhere thick where I can't, like being left-handed, I get where I can't shoot there. I get where you either shoot straight in front of you or to your
Right.
right,
Gotcha. Yeah.
and get in a thick spot where you can't shoot past your range.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you,
stuff like that.
are you, now when you say thick, are you saying thick as in ground cover, or are you thick as in a swamp, the bottom?
Swamp or thick oak trees, stuff like that.
So you're
Something-
actually getting in just like basically almost a transition right out of their bed.
Mm-hmm. I'll get in there with.
Uh,
That's why I
Yeah.
want to start using that recurve, because I can get in the swamp and hunt
Oh yeah.
place no bigger than this room, and I don't like shoot compound. that.
I've seen one of your. I think that maybe Randy ended up in one of your areas last year by accident. He was just freestyling,
Oh yeah.
and he got up in the tree, and he was like, "I see a camera," and he sent me a picture of the camera. And I think afterwards that he had talked to you, and it might have been your camera or your like. He was damn near like next to the tree that was being climbed.
Okay.
And he sent me a picture of it, and I was thinking, what are you hunting? You were literally hunting like he had to like pop out and stop,
man.
because if he kept going, you missed him, because it was so thick, and there was like one little spot like around a tree stump or something that if you hear him coming, you're like, if you're lucky enough that he stops there, you got a shot. That's some real
it's an
high
edge.
odds
Yeah.
20 yards.
or low odds.
That's
Yeah.
confident hunting.
Yeah, and it's an edge too.
Yeah.
Them little breaks like that, and I don't know where it's at, but I almost assume, 'cause I know kind of how Bennett hunts, it's probably short pine sapling's pretty close
Yeah,
to it as well.
it was all, it was like
Yeah.
nothing. That's what even Randy was saying. He was
And
like,
that,
he was trying to get up above it, I think, and look down, but I think they were too big for
Oh,
that. Yeah, so he ended up just hunting, and then he saw, and we started looking at it, you know, sending pictures. This is why I move around a lot, because I'm always like, yeah, what are you doing? And I was like, and we found out the next day that it was, I think it was your area, or it might have been the other guy that was piggybacking you a couple years ago, one of y'all, and I was just perplexed, like, you're literally hunting, like the deer gotta step out and be like, here I am, peekaboo.
You better be
You,
ready.
you can't get me, mother.
and he's quiet too, getting in the stand. Like, man, we've been walking in together. I'm like, dude, how's he this freaking? Which I know you're what 140 pounds.
Yeah,
But-
Soaking wet.
Then I was young, so I really was as well. And I'm just like, man, he's so freaking quiet. How many times have you? I think I've done it once. You've probably done it numerous times. As quiet as you are, how many times have you friggin' climbed a tree and a buck walked thinking it was you rubbing a tree?
Oh, yeah, a few
Oh,
times.
Yeah,
Matter
I
of
mean
fact,
that's pretty.
Yeah, that's.
That's
I've
getting
done
your
some
shit
couple
together.
dangerous things too. Before daylight during the rut, I walked in there, and when I get off the fire break, I got a scent drag, and I drag it to my tree. Don't drag it to you.
No, don't. Yeah, I learned
See, I do
that.
stuff like that all the time.
No,
so
I'm
don't do
telling
that,
you,
All right,
man.
That's
Because
I
he'll
learned-
come up on you in the
It
dark.
happened to me
Damn.
twice. I was sitting
Yeah,
there, and
I've done
I
it
got up a
once.
tree, and I heard,
Oh
and
man.
my bow's on the ground. I'm like, oh shit! I put my bow up, and when I got off the ground, he's running under my tree. So
Hey,
don't-
I was in
okay.
NTA 4,
I've done
and
that a
this
lot.
has been, I don't know, man. When did they come out? Because me and you were on that crap. Remember the $30 bottle of Code Blue Standing Estrus? You used to have to get it out of the
looks
refrigerator.
like a Coke bottle. Yeah, like a beer bottle.
Yeah, we used to get it from Teddy when
Yeah,
when
that
he was
was some
on Hunt
good
Mills
stuff.
Road. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. But it was one deer, you know, her pee,
One
whatever
bottle,
it may
yeah.
be. And I was in NTA 4 back when they had first put Linden Oaks in there. They wouldn't let you rifle hunt at all. And I don't even know if the containment fences were up or anything. Anyhow, I got in there and I went to a place where you made the orange jumpsuit infamous. You remember that deer?
Oh god, look like a
We were talking about
prisoner up
that
in the tree.
a couple podcasts ago. I
I
remember
look
you
like
talking
a
about it.
prisoner in the tree.
95, 94, 95 when you killed. It might even been later than that. Because I remember Dad was like, well, I just take Bennett over there and let him kill him.
Yeah, yeah.
Blah, blah, and then he ended up killing. Anyhow, I was there in that little bottom there, not too far from the fence now.
Oh wow.
And I was sitting there and I was getting all my mess ready, and I used to have, I still have it, but the old Super Mag buckshot. You know, you got to screw the little things in, you take them out, glide it back in and stuff.
Yeah.
And I heard, "Bleh," and I was like, what the? And turned around, and I was like, Bo, I'm no exaggeration, from here to the corner.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, hey. And it
Get away.
turned off. Yeah, and that's what it was, man, is I drug that rag with me.
Yeah.
And instead of knowing what tree I'm going to, and it's a little light so I can see, and instead of dropping it, you know, in a limb a couple feet off the ground before I got the tree.
That's what I do, yeah.
I just wasn't paying attention and just took it
Took
with
it all
me.
the way.
Yeah, Buddy's saying
So yeah.
he's had times where he says he's been careless making racket and had one come in, and I think he says, were they curious? I had a similar situation in EE. I was hunting this food plot because I don't really like hunting food plots, but that one had a lot of activity, and I smacked 2 does there one time coming across at night, and there was I had a buck on
Shot
camera
at night?
there. No, at dusk. You know what I mean?
No, that was the
Evenings.
buck last year.
Shot him at night.
No,
huh?
it wasn't
That was
night.
the buck last year.
When I say night, I'm referring to
It's
day,
like-
morning or night. Yeah.
He's got one of them shirt
No,
lights.
this
and
is-
squeezing
I
his
said, Brendan,
fingers.
what is it? He goes, I don't know. Doe, might have been a 4-pointer. I'm
No,
like,
it
but
was-
I ain't gonna go help you
But-
find no spike.
It was dark.
And
buddy.
it was
I
a
couldn't
big
see.
ass
Oh, it was light.
8-pointer.
Yeah. I don't know
but-
if it was 9:15.
That was a big
No,
deer.
see, I still had time that night because I called the wildlife thing. I said, hey, I got one, but I don't have I'm tracking still. And he's like, well, you got an hour, so there you
Because
go.
he figured that
He was
checking.
He was just being lean.
he
Trying to
figured
make
that you shot it like 30 minutes before you called and you just weren't able to find
I had
it.
an hour.
He didn't know
till
you
sign-in.
just smacked it.
I had an hour till. But anyhow, so I was in EE, and this was a morning hunt. So it was about like 10:30, actually about 11 on the dot, and I climbed down. I was making all kinds of racket because I was pissed, and I was like, something was going on in my tree stand, but I was cursing, and my buddy Chris was across, and he yelled at me. He's like, "Hey!" And I look up, and right where you are, freaking 6 doe, and they're staring at me, and I'm like, "What the?" And so I put my rifle against the tree, and I go to grab it, and 5 of them take off, but there's another one still staring at me, and right as I rose that rifle up, he took off, or she took off, so, yeah, they're just curious
They
animals,
are,
but they're
yeah.
weirdos.
Younger ones are gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had a
sometimes.
buck the first time I ever went. The second time I went deer hunting. The first time I used a climber. And anyway, that's another story. But I was sitting in one of those ladder stands. This is Alabama, and it was cold, real cold. And just ladder stand, no pad, sitting on the metal. You know, I'm thinking I don't want to get hemorrhoids and all that shit. Yeah. So I looked over to the left and I seen
Yeah, they're geared up.
I seen a lawn chair, like a plastic chair, and I climbed down and I got in the chair, and I didn't know how to hunt. No one told me, so I'm looking into the woods where there was a food plot like behind me and all that, and I'm just sitting there, and I fucking heard some like movement, sound like some dogs running in, and I looked over my right shoulder, and there was a doe, and then I looked behind her, and I saw him lift his head up, and he was, I don't know, he was a young deer, but he was about a 6-pointer, and I was like, what do I do? And he literally like saw me and kind of, what the hell? And he got within like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 yards. And I got a 300 Win Mag with a scope, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, what am I gonna, I don't know, if I turn around, he's gonna take off. And
Kill them.
I literally stood up, and he did not move. And but by the time I got him in the scope, he did 1, 2 and stop, and I could have shot him, but I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't realize that I was gonna get so scared, or not scared,
Oh,
but,
yeah. the
but
deer-
fever, like, oh shit, I saw a deer. I don't think anybody believed that I saw that deer because they were out in their.
He was goofy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, and you know what they reminded me of? Almost like a mouse. The way they came in, they were scurrying around like a mouse,
Yeah,
and
they do
stopped,
that.
and then, but being real quiet.
He
and
was probably
he was
you know,
chasing the doe.
Yeah, and that's what they'll do. They'll hop around and you see it if you see it in the stand as well, man. The first time you see a young buck chasing, 9 out of 10 times it's a little fawn. It's a young doe, yearling or something like that, and they'll circle. And the reason they do that is they're trying to get his butt and leave him alone.
Yeah.
You know, they're not ready yet, but he's like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
ready
yeah.
to
I'm
go.
gonna make you ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold you down like the good old days.
Got a question for you on, what's your stance on, scent control? Are you a big fanatic about scent control, or do you kind of just use the
Yeah.
basic stuff? And any tips on that? Anything that works real well for you, or?
Now, I can't remember the name of the stuff I use now, but I mean, I wash my clothes and the stuff, and then I
scent-free.
spray down, and, downwind, dead downwind.
Dead
Yeah,
downwind,
dead
yeah.
downwind,
Yeah, that's
That's
what
what
I
I
use.
use
go-to.
too.
And to be honest with you, once I get up in the tree, I don't care how the wind's blowing. Yeah, matter of fact, I wanted the one I killed in Bones Creek that
I
time.
tell people all the time, and there's like, man,
The
you
wind.
can't hunt like that.
The wind was blowing out of where I found out where that deer was.
Yeah.
I got up in the tree and I put that stuff out you were talking about, that code blue. And when the sun went behind the trees, the wind turned and blew up in that, it's like a little drain, and it went up a hill and like a little head up there. And that wind just turned and blowed up there, and I hit the grunt call. And about 10 minutes later, here he come right to me.
So the wind was blowing towards the direction where the deer came from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Walk
From
the
me,
scent in their
from me
face.
to the deer where that scent, where I had there was a scrape.
Right.
I forgot to tell you, there was a scrape right there. And I put that scent on that scrape buddy, and it blew it up in there, and he couldn't stand it.
Randy,
That's what
Randy
ASB.
made, that was his strategy.
You remember that street light?
Wait, what? Wait, what's this story? Yeah.
Yeah, Bones Creek and where,
Bones Creek.
what is that? That's the SOF com?
African
And the-
lions.
Yeah.
And the marine
Yeah.
dogs and all that. Well, that used to be an ammo supply point.
Oh,
That was
shit.
all wood.
I've heard about the ammo supply points, man. I heard they produce.
And
Yeah.
it was bow only, man. And me and you hunted there for you, David Long.
Yeah,
I think
David
that's-
killed a 198-pound deer.
Yeah.
290.
198.
198.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
We reckon the one he killed last year was
I wish I
about
could go that
190,
big, man. That thing
200.
was
He was heavy.
That when I was gonna say when he mounted it, the whatever mold he used, he probably had the biggest one he could find, but that thing did not do the neck on that thing justice. Because when I had that, man, that deer was a whopper. Like we couldn't lift it.
It took Randy and him, and they're both big dudes. I mean,
Yeah.
they're strong. Randy's a strong guy, and it took like 3 of us to get him in there. We were like,
Dang.
that's. I
Yeah,
mean,
that dude
now
was
100
good.
pounds of dead weight flopping around is heavy, but
still,
you know, you pick
yeah.
up enough 150. Now, I will drag a deer through the woods and be like, this motherfucker's 150 pounds, and go back and it's 120.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially when
But
you out of shape, like,
Yeah.
oh,
yeah,
Get
but
heavier and heavier.
usually, you know, a guy like, I killed one time, and I reckon it was about 150. I think my cousin threw it in the back, and he was like,
Oh,
nah,
yeah.
it's about 130. And it was like 130. But
Cliff is saying, I've heard of this too. Brian Ward, milkweed. I've got some in my garden, man. If you want some, it's
Yeah, I
easy
got
to
a
get,
gallon bag of it.
Milkweed's, but Cliff
I
was
need
saying,
some. I usually order it.
I've heard of this, man. And that nose jammer stuff smells similar, but Cliff Jones, is this Cliff Jones? Clifford?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's saying windy day, spray some pure vanilla extract on the limbs. Yeah, oh yeah, vanilla.
I used to do
Sure,
that. Everybody would say, "Oh, you ruined the hunt." Why are they telling me that? Like, because it's cheating, or because vanilla extract
On
works.
public land, I think you could really do. I mean, if you feel like it gives you an edge, even if it doesn't, or even if it just makes you feel more like you got confidence.
Right.
You know what I mean? I say do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know what I mean. Eventually,
Try
Because
it
I know
out.
guys
yeah,
that bring.
exactly. What's the worst that can happen?
I knew a guy that brought vanilla extract in a pump sprayer, and he would just every like 10 minutes or so, just to let it go, because
Dude, we used
the
to
little
burn
follicles.
incense.
Deer will smell. You think they got to
Vanilla
smell what
incense?
we smell? They just got to smell one little drop, and they can smell that. So if you sit there and overdo it,
Yeah.
you might do better with less, because that nose jammer. A lot of
Yeah.
guys get out there and they fog the whole woods.
I don't
I
know.
think you
See,
just
that
need to like
crap, I
just a
don't believe
little
it.
bit here.
You can overdo it.
You
but
can
can-
overdo it
yeah,
because they're
yeah.
like 'cause they smell. I don't know what it is, but
The nose jammer.
they've
I
got
don't
like
believe in
5,000
whatsoever.
receptors and 50,000 smell receptors.
I'm
in
here to
their
tell you,
nose.
if you can find it, what's the dang name of that? The Conquest guys, the Evercalm, it's decent.
Now I've seen that work.
Yeah, it does. Now
Yeah.
because
Oh, is it a deodorant stick? The best?
Yeah, it smells
And
like
and
shit
It does,
and
man,
piss.
it does well,
Yeah.
and it does what it's supposed to do. But
Don't
I'm
put
here.
it on your boots.
I'm here.
Yeah.
That's where everybody uses it. They're
Yeah.
on the side of their blind or something
I'll
like
put it on
that.
the tree that I go up in.
I'm here to tell you the best stuff, if you can find it, and this is not a plug for the guy, I have no earthly idea who he is deer dander.
Yeah, I got it.
It's-
Love it.
That is.
Love it,
remember
yeah.
the old
Dave
ranch?
Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dan Fitzgerald.
Dan Fitzgerald. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Deer
good. I got
dander
that
is-
stuff.
And
Yeah.
it don't
good.
smell bad.
It smells
Spray all over
good.
the jumpsuit, dude.
I sprayed it in my truck
It's
as
like-
an air
It's like
freshener.
the earth wafers. It reminds me. It's like, man, it's
And I
about to be
think
good.
it's
I got some brand new earth wafers in there. I cracked them open the other day. I love the smell of those. I hang them in my truck or my Jeep
However,
now.
It works. I like it.
Deer dander is the shit. You got to order it on Amazon. You ain't
It's
gonna
got
find
vanilla
it.
in it, I believe. 'cause
Huh?
you
It's
can
got
smell
vanilla,
in
yeah.
it.
Cliff,
Yeah.
Cliff said during the rut, gargle with your favorite doe urine.
Yeah. Just
You know-
don't swallow.
For you new hunters out there that like Copenhagen, I wintergreen, but you get you some straight, like wintergreen. Copenhagen stuff, and put the doe pee in that, and then let it sit for a week, and then dip it.
Or vape it.
See the guy.
Or vape it, yeah. There you go, vape
Modern
it.
days vaping.
Yeah, modern day vaping. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. This is like, try that.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you what. That's a joke, obviously. But or just about once a week at least, I will forget to like wash my hands or something like that, and I'll throw a dip in, and I've just had like
Oh, God.
filling up the
Yeah.
damn doe pee, the scent bomb or something, and just be tasting doe pee the whole time.
Hey, it's kind of good. Now we're talking. I got a bunch of questions for you because it's been
I'm gonna pee. Y'all do
it's
that.
been a very very long time since you and I have hunted together. So I don't know what you do now. I remember there for
The new hoodie, check it out.
Get a hoodie.
They are cool.
They are. Good.
This is the best hoodie yet. If you don't got one of these, then you suck.
Missing out.
You're what Brennan had to get deleted.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. I think that's what the context was on that.
But yeah, exactly. I remember used to use the little Code Blue scent dispenser that only you could set a timer or daylight and
Oh, yeah.
dark or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember you used to do those and stuff like that. But when we were hunting together a lot back in before I guess Fort Bragg become popular, remember it had a real. It was popular when I was a kid, and then it had a real drastic downfall.
Yeah.
Oh,
When they
it's
closed
far-
the impact area.
Yeah, the impact areas got rid of a lot of the old guys and stuff like that. We were hunting food plots pretty heavy when you and I were hunting together.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on those now? Do you hunt them at all anymore?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Do you
I
really?
do. I like them, but I mean, you just got to go around and see if people been all over them or.
There's that one we know of where it's like camera.
I mean, what
camera in
about
the middle.
the pressure? Because evidently you're hunting where everybody and their damn brother wants to be. I try to go the opposite of it
I try to.
and get away from it. So you still feel like you can kill a good deer off a food plot, or you hunt it just
In the mornings, I think.
really?
Like when it's frosted and
Yeah.
It starts warming up a little
Gotta let
bit.
the frost
Yeah.
get off
And
of it.
especially if old doe comes out there, old buck chasing around, I've seen that.
Really?
And I had the last one I shot off a food field.
See, I can see it.
He I seen him coming down. I got a picture on my phone of him coming down the long food field. And he got right to me. And I'm taking a picture of him. I sent it to my girlfriend. I'm like, oh my God, here he comes, here he comes. And he got right in front of me, and all of a sudden his ears went back, and I looked, and there was another buck walking sideways, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm getting ready to see a fight.
Dang.
And that was exciting. That
You
was
ever
like,
see one?
cool.
You
No,
seen
but
two
I
bucks
heard
fight?
one before daylight one morning.
I've heard
And
it, but I
they
ain't never
tore
seen
it
it.
all. They tore that
Yeah,
place
I've heard
all
'em.
to pieces.
Yeah.
I've never seen one on Bragg. I watched 3 150s fight in a cornfield in Illinois one day for 10 minutes, and I just
That's brutal, ain't it?
yeah, it's cool to watch. But what's even cooler is when you got 3 150s out in Illinois, you don't even pick your bow up. You're like, I ain't shooting that.
Oh, because there's
Yeah,
nothing,
You're waiting
yeah.
on the one that's standing
That-
back there
you want that
watching.
big, yeah, that's.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
literally, dude.
Yeah.
They're. I mean, it's
I
kind
would
of
have shot all three of them.
it's cliche to say we hunted the one of the last times I went with my brother. No, it wasn't the last time. It was the last time I hunted Central Illinois with my brother. We got a cold front on a Thursday night, maybe Friday, whatever. It was the night before we were leaving, and we basically had till lunch that
Oh,
day to
man.
hunt. And 5 of us seen 30 deer over 140 that morning. I mean, it just was like
It's
a light
cold,
switch
cold,
through.
huh?
Yeah, it was freaking. Remember how you used to say that place in South Carolina we hunted? It's the coldest place on earth.
You dang right.
It was colder than that.
I seen 30-some deer there that one morning.
Damn.
And these deer were walking in a line on the property line.
Oh.
And I'm like, I'm sitting there, I'm just trying to
Hate
stay
that.
warm with my jumpsuit on and off. And these deer got out of my sight, and they went up on a hill, and there was like 7 big rack deer standing there waiting.
That was a crazy place to hunt.
I
But you
seen-
know, nowadays though, they make heated vests. And
Oh,
you got
one of those, Ben?
Those
I
things
can
are
handle
the
cold better than I
shit.
used to good.
Those
I'm telling
heated
you
vests
right
are
now,
life.
man,
Dude,
if you
Game
ain't got a damn
changer.
heated
Yeah.
vest, you gotta get one.
dude.
Like I was like, man, I ain't getting that stupid crap.
Yeah.
And finally last year I got one. I'm gonna
Yeah.
wear it. I'm
Game
gonna wear it
over.
early season.
I wish
just
they
'cause
made-
I got it.
I wish they made pants.
They're
Like, give me
affordable.
pants.
They
Do
do.
they? I want
Yeah,
pants.
Bolt
Yeah.
makes a
They're-
whole jumpsuit. You
Oh.
do one.
They're affordable too. I mean, you can get them anywhere
like
from
45
40
bucks?
bucks to 100 if you're running with the Gucci one.
Oh,
But man, I'm
wow.
telling you what, Buddy had me sold on that, and they're lightweight.
They
I've
make a
been-
medium.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
you
form
know,
fit, too,
the-
so they're sexy.
The first year I used one, everybody made fun of me. This was like
No, them
6,
things are
7 years
awesome.
ago, and you had to buy them from like Fastenal. You know, they were like
The Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. You couldn't just
Wow.
go and get them and order them, and the battery was like this big, and it was a jacket, and I actually still have it because I had like my company logo at the time put on it, and you know, it light up. But I started using that, and then I found that the best,
Buddy
all
said
you,
I'm gonna need that link.
huh?
Just go on, Buddy. Go on Amazon, dude. They're all the same.
Yeah, you just go on Amazon and put
Yeah.
heated vests. There's
Just
so
make sure
many
you
of them
get-
now.
Make sure you get the ones that come with the battery pack because a lot of them, it will.
Yeah,
It's
you gotta buy it
deceiving 'cause it'll say,
separately.
but you gotta buy it
Yeah, read
separately,
the
yeah, but-
reviews too on them.
Yeah.
And get a
Yeah.
couple battery packs actually. The battery packs aren't that expensive, but one will,
Yeah.
I mean, the one I had it last, it's good enough for that morning.
Yeah, that morning. I mean, you figure even when it's really, really cold, up until like 10:30.
I will
it
say,
never
I bought-
stays cold all day here.
I bought the Volt VOLT one.
I think that's what I got.
Just because they had a sale last year right before Christmas, or
Mhm.
maybe right after Thanksgiving they had a sale. They're normally $199 and they were $100 off with free
Yeah.
shipping.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the little lithium pack on medium, I deer hunted twice and duck hunted one morning and never charged it. And
Yeah.
hell, I got to their point. I fished with it on medium one day, all day crappie fishing for
Yeah.
7
Yeah, man.
hours.
It's got the
Yeah.
one around your neck and
Oh,
your
yeah,
chest
yeah,
and
get the
your
ones
Out
that-
back.
yeah.
too,
Game
Hey, huh?
Yeah,
out on the pier kingfish.
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah,
October.
yeah.
It's man,
Yeah.
it's literally one of the
I
best.
haven't
things I've
fished
bought.
since I started surfing. That's the
It
only-
gets there. I remember that one winter, and this was before I always remember because I was in pain, but I was so man. I went up there and I was just excited to get it in the trees, and I was out at our normal spot, and I remember it was so damn cold that morning. I got frostbite on my fingertips.
Do y'all see one
And actually, I had
over
to
a
cancel
whole
my
lot
hunt.
because y'all
Nah, I don't.
are normal
It's no,
spots.
it's not. The area where we're pretty spread out. I'm like almost into another area. I'm over by the compound, if you know what I'm.
Yeah.
I'm way over there, almost. So I'm so close to like I can hear civilians, drinking and partying, and
Yeah.
he's on the other side. Except this year. This year I'm gonna be a little close. I'm sorry.
He's gonna get right.
I didn't hear about. I heard about
Hey,
the deer and I
you
didn't
hear him.
encroach. Yeah, yeah. I didn't encroach. when I heard about it, but when I seen it, I was like, nah, that's public land, baby. I'm sorry.
Man, you remember the
But I
big
still don't
deer?
think, you know where I'm at. Did I tell you where I ended up? And I asked you if that was an area, and you said no. There was somebody else might have been down
There's
there.
another guy
Need
that's
a
got a
button.
camera up by the road.
Yeah.
Red button.
Up by the road, but where I ended up going and setting up, it looked like at the bottom of a pine tree, which was a bad spot. If this guy was hunting, I don't know if he killed anything because it's a bad spot to be in because it's so open. Like the deer literally
Don't tell
come
my
out
brother that.
and they, huh?
Don't tell my brother. He killed a deer a few years back, a really, really good deer.
No, but this one, the sun goes down behind you and there's nothing. The deer looks up. He can
Dude, there's
see.
not another tree within 60 yards of the
Did he have
tree
any cover?
climbed. No. They're on a limb
Speaking
for
of your
40
brother,
foot.
speaking of your brother, just popped in my head. He texted me last night, I think, or the night before, about doing a barbecue. I think he likes to cook, don't he?
Yeah.
He wants to do a barbecue at the hunt club.
God, sounds-
He said if
That'd
you
be
didn't
cool.
want to use the mill pond, I don't know what
Yeah.
that is. He would use
He
his
did
garage.
not want to?
He said if you didn't want to use the mill pond.
Oh, I'll do the mill pond.
Okay.
Yeah, that ain't no
So we'll put some more information
That's
out.
a good idea,
Probably
man.
it's got maybe
Kick
when the
some of that deer
season
stock out of the
when it
freezer.
cools off before the season gets hot and heavy.
It needs
Yeah.
to be October, man.
It needs to be
Yeah.
October, maybe on a
Mosquitoes and
Tuesday.
snakes.
Nah, that ain't no big
Can we
deal.
do it on a
Man.
Tuesday? No, because most guys got to go to work. We'll have to do it on a weekend.
The best thing to do would be like a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're,
Yeah.
have a
Well,
lot-
I don't know. Guys don't want to go out and drink beer and go to work the next morning. I don't know if you're a young soldier, that's normal, but I don't care. I'll do
How about
whatever.
that right there by
As
my
long as we
door?
do it before about the
By the lake.
18th of November, because
Oh, you're playing.
I'm flying out on the 20th of November.
That's prime. That's when you.
I know, man, but what are you gonna do, man? I
That sucks, man.
it was supposed to be. I was
January
supposed to be
2nd.
leaving on September 20th, which is my birthday. That was the day that I was supposed to leave. And then I found out that my lease was like a 15-month lease, so I had to kick it out 3 months, or I have to pay a penalty. And I said, "Fuck!" I was gonna pay the penalty. I was like, "Well, I'll get some deer." I was gonna skip deer hunting this year,
Wow, you don't want to do that.
but I'm gonna be leaving.
Breakdown.
Yeah,
I
so
got a question.
at least I got the early season and some of the beginning of the rut. If I can get me a nice 8-pointer, I'll be happy with the season. If that's all I get.
And I've shot deer. I've shot nice deer early season.
Yeah,
Do you hunt like as soon as bow season starts? Are you out there and you
Oh,
wait?
yeah, he hunts.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact,
Kinda excited, isn't it? He's like, oh, yeah.
I got the itch,
the biggest
man,
body
bad.
deer
I
I
do
shot
too.
was the
Yeah.
year before last. It was the last day of bow season. 170 pounds.
Yep.
8-pointer.
You've been on bow season.
I'm trying to remember because
Year before last.
I'm like one of your
Going
biggest
on.
fans. I keep up with all your deer. I'm trying to like calculate. Yeah, but I did notice with you though, from like watching before I met you, just watching you on the page, a lot of you would kill deer like it seemed like late in the season when you get the big.
Yeah.
Remember that you killed that one crazy one that was like, I mean, maybe 4 years ago, and you shot it in. I thought maybe in December or at the end of November. You know what I'm talking about? It was nighttime when you found it, which that doesn't narrow it down. It was probably the best deer that I've ever seen.
The
That you
12
killed.
pointer?
Yeah, that big
Yeah.
sick nasty one. Yeah,
He come, yeah.
that was like when was that killed? Late November,
It was
December.
November the 17th or 18th.
Oh, was it that
I think,
early?
or-
No, I
or-
thought
or
it was early.
Right before
Deer
Thanksgiving.
I killed.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't
David
know why it
Hall.
was in my mind that like it was about the time where everybody goes dark, like ain't
Matter of
seeing
fact,
shit.
somebody else had it on the trail camera
Yeah.
during bow season.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Belleville.
Yeah.
Where'd you
And
kill
then
that one
nobody
at?
tell me about that.
Where'd you kill that one at? Same like normal.
On the
Run of the
other
mill?
end.
Oh, okay.
BT, question for you, man. So,
Don't brag by a pine tree.
Yeah.
yeah. I wanted to ask you about this because I've had this happen to me a couple times, and you know, you've had a deer, I'm sure, a nice buck come in, and he only gets so close, but do you have success calling him in? What's your tactic for that? You don't want to overcall, but what's a good tactic if that deer, like for instance, I was in a spot one time and I was up in my tree, and this was rifle, so I could have had a nice shot, but he was still just far enough where I wasn't confident, all right? And he was a nice buck, probably 11, 12 pointer, but he would only come to he'd come about 100, maybe 80 yards close, and then he would stop and just kind of edge, and he didn't want anything to do with me, but what's a tactic that you use that has worked for you? That's what I want to know.
I take my grunt call and
Face it away from them.
face it away from him, just do it real lightly.
Okay.
You don't think you can hear it, but that rascal can hear.
And then I guess Buddy and I had the same deer pass us, and he was a freaking hoss too. And this was in a bow hole in the area, but he was strutting. He went out about 8 in the morning, crossed the main road, and he came circling back. And I was close, and I was doing everything, man. First I tried to grunt to see if I could stop him, and he kind of stopped a little bit, but he didn't care. And then I tried to, you know,
It's a long delay.
I tried to just grunt aggressively, and I even did the, you know,
Snort wheeze, yeah, that
the
worked
snort
too,
wheeze.
yeah.
He didn't give a damn, so I guess sometimes you just have no
He
luck,
came
but-
in whenever he texted me and told me which way he was walking. He didn't know where he was at. I knew I knew the area pretty well, so I was like, he's coming down that damn trail. And we were only like maybe 500 yards, maybe 1,000 yards, maybe, I don't know, Clint. But he's coming down that trail, and I'm thinking he's gonna come down this way. And about 20 minutes later, he came in because I did the doubly. He came in with his head up, almost strutting like, you know, like peacocking.
He was looking for something.
Yeah, and he gets down. So I watch him. Now I'm getting like, oh, he's coming. You know, he's gonna. I know he's gonna come down this way. But then there's scrub oaks, those blackjack oaks. He got lost in there, and I waited about 15 minutes, and I started getting worried that he went off into the impact area.
Standing there.
And so I got worried, and I hit the doe bleed again. And when I did that, he took off. Like he was coming up right behind me.
Yeah.
I was hoping he'd come.
You know,
Like he pinpointed
I
the
was
sound
like-
from up there. He was coming around.
Like
he
a
went,
turkey.
He went down, and
Yeah, they'll
all
get
of
that
my
wind on
training and
you.
all my what I know about deer behavior went out the window, because if I would have thought about it, the wind was blowing. That's why I was set up where I was at. The wind was blowing this way, and he heard it. It was a nice cold morning, and I swear it was funny because I had looked around before I did the thing. I didn't see him, but as soon as I hit that doe bleed out of the corner of my eye, I seen him plain as day. Turn around and run.
Yeah.
Back
He-
legs.
he-
He was a
as soon as you
big
did,
eight.
You were reeling him in, just didn't
Oh,
realize
I
it.
didn't know it. I didn't know it.
He came back in because we hunted that spot. We did a full day hunt, so we took our little break, went out, and I didn't know this because it was a blind spot for me. Buddy actually put me in it, and I had no idea. He just said, "Hey, that's a good area," but I went in at dark, and when I got up in my tree, I looked down, and there was 6 freaking scrapes right there, fresh, big
Oh,
ones.
yeah.
But then there's a freaking hunting tree stand across the way as well, like right in front of me. I was looking at it, but I waited, went back in at night and evening, and it started to get dark, man. I just had this feeling, I had that gut feeling, you know. Listen to your gut out there because your gut's right. But I was like, I'm gonna get him. He's gonna come back. So I used that cartoon doe spray that has the cartoon doe head on it.
Golden Esther.
Golden.
I think it's
Esters.
golden. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll get one spray bottle for the. Yeah, it's always worked for me, but I sprayed some when I went back in. I actually went to a different position. I went to where I saw him. He would go the same way each time. And it's starting to get dark now, and I'm like, damn, but I hear, I'm like, oh, here he comes, and my heart starts pounding. And I'm like, there he is, and I get up, and I can see him clearly, he's right below me, but I had my damn phone in my pocket, I was leaning up against that bar, like this, and as soon as he got under me, I hear, because my buddy's calling me,
Shit.
and he goes, and takes off, so I was like, shit. But
I missed
makes
that.
sense.
it wasn't him
No,
calling
it
me,
wasn't
it was
me.
the other buddy. Yeah.
That same
I would've
deer.
thought of Buddy no more.
No.
Yeah, but you know, I'm actually thankful for Buddy that day because you know I have no reception there, and I'm the type of guy always gets mixed up in the woods. Period. And we have to get into an area to check
You
back
don't like
in,
impact areas.
and I'm starting to panic. Yeah, I'm starting to panic, and I'm like calling Buddy, but I have no service because I need to get out of there because I gotta check in. And sure enough, I see his headlights, but I was really spun around, and
Oh, yeah.
I was going the wrong way, man.
That same deer, about a week later, because I started hunting that deer. I was actually hunting that deer, and I mean, I hunted this motherfucker. Like I hunted him for like 4 days straight. And I don't know if you go back on the Facebook page. Around rut last year, I put a post up that turkey don't like helicopters hovering above them either. And as soon as I hit send on that post, I looked over and that deer was fucking 20 yards from me.
Social media saves some animals.
Yeah, it does.
It
And I'm
really
gonna tell
does,
you,
man.
I damn drew back, and I had him dead to rights. He didn't know I was there. He was working a scrape. He turned around. I had him broadside, but as he walked over right in the perfect spot to sniff the rub, just sniffing on it, there was a branch that kind of came down, and I thought, I don't know if I'm gonna hit it or not. But there was another scrape right there, so all I had to do was wait, and then I would have had a better shot with no branches, and that's where he's been going. I had him on camera, but that day he decided to do an oblique left, and he went that way, and I tell you, I grunted, and it did stop him, but he wasn't interested in it, and he walked away, and I grunted again, he took off
Do
running.
you rattle call?
Because I was watching them damn
Yeah.
turkeys.
Did you? Okay, that's good. It's like another thing too is like I have we were going to talk about late season a little bit. Like what's your overall what's your plan when it's late season, you know, and it gets to be towards the end, things slow down a little bit? Because you always seem to get them, period. You get them at the end
Fresh
as well.
scrape. I like fresh scrapes. Look
Fresh
for them.
scrape, okay.
And I still make mock scrapes. I just started doing that the last few years. That's
Yeah,
that's
got a lot of-
fun.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It is.
That one, that
It's like
170
fishing,
pounder I
setting a
killed.
trap. Yeah.
I go pee in my mock scrape every single time, and I have all kinds of, like the one I made in our secret spot. I've had freaking raccoons. They love it. All the animals love it, so that's cool. And I get a lot of, you know.
And Fox will pee in them every time too. You ever
Oh,
see
yeah.
Fox come by and park his leg?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Put fox pee in them too.
Hey, when you're
But it ain't a secret spot no more because I was gonna go hunt there last year and there was 11 motherfuckers signed in there, so it ain't no secret.
it's crazy, man. I mean,
It is.
but that's the beauty and the downside of public land.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I
You got to hunt the hunter.
exactly,
That's right.
and you have
That's what I started doing.
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and you have to kind of start. Most people are gonna do. If you have 10 hunters in an area, 6 of them are gonna do what they saw on TV.
Yeah.
2 of them are gonna have somewhat to do, and then the other 2 are gonna be like, all right, we're gonna get away from these guys and kind of do our own thing. Because you'll see if the pretty part of the area is in the bottom of that area, end of the season, all the damn deer up there at the road because
Yeah.
they push them deer constantly from all that pressure up and stuff like that. But
You know, even in that area though, I have the only hunter that I've ever run into while I was hunting was him coming in late. And I knew he was coming. He called me and I told him, I said, don't.
And then he took a picture
I
on
said,
you and posted it.
Well, the first time,
he seems like an asshole.
remember I posted a picture of the white Jeep and I was like, this asshole coming in, that was him, but I knew he was coming, but the next time I told him just, cause he was being respectful, he had to come in late, he had to do what he had to do, but he was going slow. And I said, when you come in this time, just go. Don't go slow, because when you, that's when the deer stop. It was when the vehicles slow down, the
Yeah.
deer get like,
Yeah.
but if you just keep rolling, they don't even
They're
pay no
used to
attention.
joke.
Yeah, just going
Yup.
through.
Yeah.
Hey,
we got to. Oh, go ahead.
One question, we'll do that because I've been we're bouncing
go
all
ahead,
over
go
the
ahead.
place and everything. But early season, say opening day of bow season until what's persimmon right?
About right before the first frost, right around
Right
there.
around black powder season.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
before a persimmon has failed, and we're going to exclude grapevines. What are you looking for?
Some of the acorns.
What the hell is dropping in September?
I've seen them on the trees. They come up there and eat them off the tree.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Any type of particular browse? Like I tell everybody, like I really love. My mind just went blank.
The type of tree,
I'm
red,
trying to
white.
It's a grass.
Oh.
Ragweed
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and the little yellow flowers.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that you've noticed that the deer
Not really just browsing around and.
just regular old
Mm-hmm.
just forest browse on the ground.
And that's what I
tender
need to pay
stuff.
more attention to early season because
Yeah.
there's these other thing. It's called tie. It looks like around the ponds. It grows. It looks like a shrub,
Yeah.
but it's got little bitty berries on
The
it.
black, the dark ones?
They're little.
No, that's
they're
gallberries.
Oh, gallberries.
Yeah.
gallberries and poke salad. They eat that stuff
they
too.
love that.
Certain
Polk
time-
salad, yes,
certain
sir.
time.
Deer part Asian, man. They like some polk salad.
I don't know what poke salad, I know that Elvis had a song called Poke Salad
Polk
Annie.
salad Annie.
But I don't,
Exact
It's got
same
the
thing.
red. It's got the reddish purple trunk.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture.
oh, yeah,
of it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah, I
look
know
for
you're
it,
talking
man.
about, yeah.
They love those little.
It got black looking berries on it, purple berries. on it.
So just basically just palatable browse.
Yeah.
Before, if there's no acorns dropping, there's not a grapevine within sight, and the
Mhm.
persimmons aren't ready yet.
And I'm
There's no
surprised at
salad.
the grapevines the last couple of years.
They've been pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's a couple places, man. You know, a grapevine has to.
Break real easy.
A grapevine only produces on new growth, and there's a few places in February that we so happen to run over and make sure they have new growth on them. Put them back and cut them, and they produce a lot harder the following year. That's why when you go by vineyards and stuff around here, you'll see muscadines and stuff like that. They prune them all the way back to the wire, just because they can't produce on existing growth. It has to be
Gotcha.
new growth for them to go. But
What about getting down, like, okay, so most people will find that real thick draw and they'll hunt outside of it, right? Because they're crossing or they're bedded down in there.
Mhm.
So what about getting down, just getting in the middle of that area where they're crossing? You get in the thick
Yeah,
like
sneak
that?
down in there.
Yeah. Cause I went back, I got an area last year and I finally, like, I don't know how many years I've been saying, every deer I kill in this spot, they come out of this little opening. So I went down in there one year, and it's like a little tunnel. It's real thick, but then it kind of opens up. Like
Yeah.
you think it's like all thick, but there's like
Once you
there
get
were
in there, you're
rubs, scrape. It was like being in another part of the woods, just like surrounded by a wall.
Mhm.
So I went in and I mean I put a lot of work into this area, like taking the deadfall and making trails where they're already walking, but just kind of just tunnel them under my. I only sat there twice because I didn't see shit the first time, but I think I'm gonna go back to that spot. It should be nice because I
And-
cleared it out pretty good. I didn't cut no trees down, but you know I cut some branches down, but you know you take the tree and just kind of pull it back.
You
Kinda
change
make
it
a
too
trail.
much.
And then I took my rake and I raked the trails up because
Hey,
they will walk on the mud.
Josh Whitford and I were talking about this Sunday. He gave me like a little bit of a saddle tutorial, you know, just on a few little tips and stuff. Like I bought a comb duck. I didn't know what the hell it was, but he told me I needed one.
What is that?
Exactly. It's like it's like a carabiner. And now that I got
Oh,
one,
God.
it's the thing to have.
Oh, yeah, I keep my aerosol carabiner with me.
Yeah, but we were saying, man, a buck in his territory notices very subtle changes.
Yeah.
I've had on very few occasions, well, not on very few, on very numerous occasions where I've had a deer on camera or just knew I was where I was supposed to be. It was in his little home area, whatever home range, and get in a tree and it's the right tree I need to be in, but it's just not the right one I can climb. So I've had to get in and cut a limb and stuff like that down, or even
Right.
lay another tree down for a shooting lane or something like that. And on 2 to 3, maybe even 4 occasions, I've had good mature deer coming in, and where that limb that you prune's laying on the ground, wind hitting you in the face, so I know it's not wind, it's actually visually seen, and they'll do their head almost like a dog and literally walk straight backwards.
Really?
They don't want no
It's-
changes.
Okay.
A change on a mature
So get in
deer,
there during scouting season and cut your lanes and let them
do
get a
what you
chance to
need
get used to it.
It's almost like a ground blind. People say, get it brushed in. and
I'm
let
gonna
'em
put
get
my
used
ground
to it.
blind in.
Go in after deer
Next
season's
week,
over
yeah.
when it's so daggone cold you can't do nothing else.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
trimming up.
Yeah,
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 'cause
yeah.
they will back out on you.
Brian Ward has a question for Bennett. If you find good sign, like big tracks and scrapes, do you keep scouting in the area or do you let it rest?
I let it rest. I put a little bit of scent out
Yeah.
and act like another deer coming in there. I mean, I even take a dead limb and put rubber gloves on it,
Mm.
and there's stuff called buck butter. I put on that limb.
Buck butter.
You can't let
Buck
everything
butter.
out,
I don't know what
man.
that is, but we
It's
won't.
by, it's by Black Widow. Scent.
We about to order it up right now.
But
Amazon.
Amazon's about to blow up. Go to Alton's. Hey, get it locally.
He
Go
don't
to-
have it right now.
Buck
He
butter?
don't. Buck.
Buck.
Butter.
Oh, buck
It's
butter.
called limb butter, actually.
Oh, okay.
But
Wait.
but I'll go in there and make a mock scrape,
Yeah.
and I'll go over there and I'll take a daggone limb and I'll wear the sapling out,
Oh, yeah.
and it makes them mad. I mean,
Black Widow branch butter,
Branch
licking
butter,
branch
that's it,
gel,
yeah.
$15.
It's in a gray tube. Looks like
Yep.
toothpaste.
no, they got the new stuff. It's called buck butter.
Yeah, get the
Amazon don't. What's that? Wood butter, cutting board? No.
get it straight from
As
their
long as it ain't
website.
butt butter.
Cause hey, look, a lot of people
Butt
don't.
butter.
Black Widow. I use DK&N as we talked about the guy from Oklahoma, but Black Widow, they're actually North Carolina based,
Okay.
so their deer are
They,
Yeah, they're on
forehead,
Facebook.
they got forehead gland gel too.
That's it.
Okay.
they're
Plus the
more
buck
of
butter.
our deer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that 1969.
But that other stuff ain't gonna
Right.
give away that I use. You know what it is.
Don't
Oh,
give away all the
yeah.
secrets. You
That's
gotta
the-
keep some. I piss on my mock scrape every time I leave, and that's why I said I get a lot. You know, just curiosity.
Man, I don't have
what's
enough to pee. You know how many mock scrapes I got on Bragg?
I ain't gotta pee that much.
I'll pee off my tree stand, man, because I've heard they've already proven that it's a curiosity scent, and human urine turns in just to a regular.
It's ammonia, man.
It's ammonia. And
What
it's
if
go
ahead.
Buddy Art has a question. Have you ever tried horizontal rubs?
I've seen them how they do that, but I've never tried that.
Explain it.
Yeah.
It's basically like a signpost rub, where instead of your you know,
perpendicular,
vertical
vertical. Yeah.
they'll have a tree that's maybe leaned over, or they'll actually, some of those guys will take wire and actually fasten a tree in order to get the deer to start coming in.
Huh.
So I've seen it a lot on those guys from like the Deer University and Mississippi State, and those guys that know more about deer than
Yeah.
they forgot more than we'll ever
I like
know.
yeah.
But I've never done any of that stuff. up either, man. I like a mock scrape. I think it's really hard to beat a mock scrape, especially on public ground, because it's man-made, yeah, but eventually if you do it right, it becomes something.
Because I've got mock scrapes
have to
from
mess with it,
2014 that get hit every year.
Yeah, and they'll-
Like 6 of them
they'll
all
try
down a damn like little trail along a little
Yeah.
thick.
You go in there and mess with it a little
Mess
bit,
with it
a
a little
couple of
bit.
days, and don't
Yeah.
go in there and hunt. And then about the third time you go in there, like on a good morning, oh man,
Yeah.
or a good evening,
And-
get ready.
So I'll go during the early season and I'll go hunt an area, say the morning, and before I go out, I'll stop by another area and just check the scrapes. And like there was a spot that I traditionally kill a deer or a couple of deer in this area every year, but like last year, none of the scrapes got hit.
The
Like,
food
none
might
of
not
them.
have been there
Yeah.
for the does.
I don't know what happened. So this year, I there was some doe. I got some doe on camera, but they didn't really mess with the scrapes. I don't know. I put little drippers on there sometimes. Because that one deer, I chased him for about 4 years, and I finally found his sheds. And his sheds were literally like he was tired of them, and he put his head on a tree and he shook because they were wrapped around a pine tree perfectly.
Dang.
And they're huge. There's one since I hunted the deer and he outsmarted me every time. I did put the horns on a plastic skull
There you
and I
go.
hang it up. But I tell her I didn't kill him. He outsmarted me for 4 years. I mean, his brow tines are like dildos, man. They were just big, thick ones. I saw him in
That's why
velvet.
that's
He
why
was
wants them.
he was so skinny in velvet, but his rack was so big. He looked funny, like
Looked
he,
like a dog
he
with
looked-
antlers.
Yeah, he looked like a dog with antlers.
That's what I like. Either
But I would
drag
go
out
to
the
that-
woods-
Oh, yeah.
I would go to a tree
Like
and
old
where I had a
Texas
camera
deer.
on it, and then I would hunt the morning. I'd sit till about 11. And he didn't come out. Maybe it was a little drizzle, and then I'd go eat, and I'd come back. I was gonna go back to the same tree, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna go down about 300 yards to another tree that I have where I got him on camera, and then the next day go check that camera, and at 3 o'clock in the afternoon he was there. Like he knew, like he was waiting for me. Like
Second
he,
guess yourself too, man. That'll get you.
Yeah,
That'll get you.
second
in
guess.
trouble,
oh, Randy
man.
got last year. Randy had this spot next to a road, and he had killed a nice deer there after bitching for like a week. Fucking, I hate hunting. There ain't nothing here. And then he killed a nice little 9-pointer. Well, like 2 weeks later, he was gonna go back to that spot, and I started hunting the spot. I jumped right in it. You're at work, I'm going.
Keep it hot.
So he got off work,
Yeah,
and he was
keep-
gonna go
keep it
there,
honest.
and I couldn't go, and I was like, oh man, he's gonna kill a deer there, 'cause this is a good spot. And he second guessed himself, and he was like, no, I'm gonna go try somewhere new. He kept going all the way down, still off the road, and just found a spot that he liked, and went back and checked the damn camera on his way home, and at like 4:45, 5 o'clock, the sun was still up. There's that fucking deer.
Still trying to figure out why y'all are going and checking cameras.
Why?
That's just why? It's like I said the other day. Get a damn cell
Subscription.
camera.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't
That's
know,
part of the fun of
man.
it, though. Actually,
Dude,
first
I
off,
probably got 10 cameras on Bragg. I don't
Yeah.
even know where they're at. I lost a camera for 3 fucking years, and then I found it like 3 years later, and
I'll tell you what, though,
I said,
this-
if me and Randy both looked for it, because we had moved it a few times.
Hey, you remember getting our old Tasco cameras? We'd go check cameras together and haul ass to Skybow Road, Walmart for the 1-hour photo.
Yeah. That's the one thing on Bragg, though, that
Put more gas doing
kind of.
that.
Yeah.
They do a pretty good job about mentioning the control burns, but sometimes it'll already be on fire, and they're like, oh, by the way,
It's
control
something
burns.
that's just part of it.
They called me
Yeah.
last year and told me.
Yeah.
I was going to do cell cams this year, but since I got to leave mid-season, I just like...
I do the old school method still, but I do have a couple. I got one for free with that.
I just got too damn.
There was an
busy.
app that if you did the subscription for the year, they give you a badass camera for free. But the problem is now I got 2 different cell cameras, so
I bet you if you put all
Oh,
them
yeah.
cell cameras
Yeah.
out, right, and you advertise it on the page, like, these new guys, just go scout some areas that you don't normally hunt, and be like, for like $200, this
Your-
deer right here,
your
he's
guide-
been here 4 times,
your
like
guide
a
knows.
virtual deer guide. You ain't even got to go out in the woods.
oh, this generation would eat that up.
Kind of like I'm gonna tell you right now, if you
Brother,
invented,
I could make a fortune.
That's
on
what I'm
this.
saying.
I'm good at getting pictures.
I might give you $100 for if you got that deer and you got him like in a week he's there 3 or 4 times. And I want to know where it's at. I might pay you that money for that. I
Y'all
ain't
hit
gonna
me
lie.
up.
I said I
I'll
wanted
be
to
in
invent a
Illinois when y'all are
contraption.
here. I'll be sending y'all pictures. I'll be in Illinois during that.
I want to invent a contraption that would hold a crossbow and fire it remotely from the computer. So you
don't
could
have to.
you could like sign on to like Ohio, and then you could wait and you could go click, boom, and shoot the deer, and then the company
Texas
would
does that.
Wow.
really they do that
There's-
already.
There's 2 places in Texas you can go.
Why?
It's a webcam feed,
Oh
and
my
you
Lord.
you can pay for the animal and everything like that, and you can actually kill the deer via the internet. Wow.
Wow. See, that was my idea like 10 years ago. Because I was like, that's not, like, here's the thing. You go on to,
People want the head as
They
a
want-
tree,
yeah, man.
They don't
here's the
have
thing.
time.
I'm not going to spend $40,000 of my own money to go kill your pet that you grew, the big
Some
non-typical.
people don't give a shit.
But I'm gonna tell you what, if you paid for me to go, I'll kill the hell out of that thing. I'll mount it and I'll brag and be like, "You kill something like that."
I'm probably.
You can talk all the shit you want about, oh, it's not real. I mean, then get out there with a fucking spear. You know what I
and
mean?
That's kind of how, I mean, there's been a lot of people. I personally will not spend my personal money to go shoot a deer in a cage.
No, me
Now,
neither.
if my buddy's like, "Hey man, I got you 20 grand, let's go," I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go kill
Yeah,
that
yeah.
motherfucker. And I'm gonna mount it
That's what I
front and center.
I had a
300
buddy of mine.
inches.
He went years ago, and we had a group text message, and myself and Mike and my brother were at Fort Bragg deer hunting one morning. We're on the group, and Brandon's up in Pennsylvania on this enclosed,
Yeah.
basically
High
deer
fence,
hunt.
yeah.
And we're like, "Well, man, what's it like?" And he was like, "Best way I can describe it is, it's like a real hunting situation in a controlled environment."
Yeah.
Like, motherfucker, we knew that before you left.
Yeah,
but
I
he
would
killed
love it.
some
I would
gnarly
do it.
looking Thing. I would too, but I'm not gonna spend my money on it because I don't think it's hunting.
It's
and
not.
you didn't go hunting; you went shooting.
Shooting.
Yeah.
Have you ever been a part of a hunting club, like an actual private land, like corn-fed hunting club?
Mm.
No. See, I'm the same way. I did it just to try, but I was like, man, this is.
No, I don't like it.
I tried
Yeah,
hunting
petting
corn
zoo
one
says.
time on some
That's
private land.
Robert Dwayne is Soldier 444 for petting zoo. Yeah, I agree. It's like
I don't
it's
like
not.
It's not
Yeah.
hunting like we hunt and like we like to hunt,
I'm not
but
knocking it because
it's not something that if I was going to spend $40,000 to do it once a year, I'm not going to. I go hunting every day. I'm not going to go to the petting zoo, and you know what I'm saying. But if I could afford it, or if you paid for it, I would go.
I'll say you're talking about deer hunting clubs.
Yeah,
Where
like
you're hunting over corn.
corn
God damn, that's a
like
long
that.
delay.
yeah.
We dang, that is long. We
That was like an hour ago.
That was quite a bit ago. He's like, "Oh,
That's how it live is. And so if something happens, you can edit it out.
Okay.
But I've been members of hunting clubs and stuff like that. Like in recently, up until we lost the property that we had privately, we had corn piles. I told y'all that,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't actually hunt the corn piles. We had them there for getting an idea of what's on the property and stuff like that. But the worst to me, I don't want to get in the hunting club because what I let walk, you may shoot,
Yeah.
and the hell with that. You know what I mean? I go to Bragg and do that.
I would like if I had my own property. I would like. I know this guy out in Anderson Creek area, and he had basically a double wide trailer mounted about 15 feet in the air. Like he had a deck on it,
That'd be pretty
had a
cool.
There's
bathroom.
some ballers out there in these hunting clubs.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was. I mean, it wasn't that big. It wasn't that
Yeah.
big, but it was a shoot house. Like he could
Yeah.
literally live there, and he had a
Greg,
big deck.
You seen Gregory Villa?
Yeah. He's
He's
got
got a
yeah.
killer one.
Yeah.
He spend the night in that round.
Yeah.
He does, I believe.
Yeah,
He takes,
he just
goes-
he takes his heater and stuff with him.
One of the clubs I was in. I mean, there's some really well off dudes in there. But this one guy had a tractor next to his stand, and he had his own plot that he filled up and a nice freaking insulated electrical
See, I
treat
love
stand
that.
there, and then he
Me
he got
too, 'cause
four-wheeler
I'm a
too.
sissy with
But-
cold.
Yeah. It-
I like the experience, man. I like the elements, and yeah, it sucks, but that's where I find my peace.
Well, yeah,
you know?
but that's 99% of the
Yeah.
time. But that one time,
Yeah, when I almost got frostbite that time, that
what
sucked.
the hell is going on there? Are we
It's
that
just
far?
you going
Oh, that's
back.
me coming back.
If
Damn.
you text me and be like, "Hey man, you hunt this morning," and you check the weather and it's like 23, you answer your own
Oh,
question.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely going
I'm
then.
not.
Yeah. That's,
Man, I tell you what, North Carolina deer are not built for cold fronts. You hunt in the middle of a cold front, it sucks.
I don't know. It's
It
when I
is-
see the most
it is-
deer. I
It is
think.
great right before it, and it is phenomenal.
Like if
after
it's
it.
if it's cruising along in the morning and it's like 38 degrees, 37, 30, and then all of a sudden it says Friday it's gonna drop down to 25. I'm in the fucking tree Friday morning. That cold
It's
snap
good.
gonna get them
It's
up.
good Thursday, but Friday they're gonna feed heavily, and they're gonna lay up.
Boy, they're not checking the
24 hours.
goddamn weather.
You don't think they know it better than you do?
I don't know.
They
man.
sense it. They can
sense
tell it by the barometric pressure. That's what they live in. The weather they live and die by.
Like a fish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cold.
I think there's got to be
high-pressure,
people out there right now
sunny
saying,
days.
"Fuck, you're full of shit, man." Cold snaps are when they move, man.
I'm telling you, if you've been it, You tell us.
What you think? Come on, man. You're the.
I mean, I've seen some on the cold mornings when the sun comes up and you start seeing the frost kind of melt.
Mm-hmm.
When that sun gets on them, they'll move.
Thank you. When it's starting to warm up.
And in the evenings when it starts cooling down, they'll move like right before.
If you notice though that if we have a North Carolina cold front for us, it's literally 36 hours. So it may be
Halloween and always.
a high of 60, which is our normal rut, you know, low in the 40s.
Yeah.
And then say Saturday, it's going to be a high of 38. And that low Friday night, Saturday morning is 21.
That's when I want to be out there.
Saturday will suck.
You think so? Okay.
And but if you get 2 or 3 continuous days of that, then they'll get back into a normal pattern. But if it's just a little 1-day deal, a lot of times them deer will feed up ahead of that, because I've noticed also as well on Fort Bragg, those deer, they don't get on their feet if it frosts. They're not on their feet until the sun gets that frost off the food.
I know mid-morning, like during Thanksgiving, we used to see deer all the time, 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it would be cold as crap.
I think this year when it's wintertime, I think I'm going to do what you were talking about before, like not going in the dark, like maybe going in pink light. Because that does make sense, man. It's a lot easier to get around. You can be more quiet.
I'm a lot quieter, man. I used to
Yeah.
find myself like trashing through there. That's what.
Because I go through like a freight train. I got the most fucking high
Seems like
beam.
that's the best thing to
I
do,
got like
yeah.
an LED light. I can see a mile, you know.
And
That's-
I don't use. That's like I think we brought it up. You're like, what? Or you were like, man, you have a flashlight. You're like, I don't use one.
Yeah, but the
Going in,
boogeyman.
going
The boogeyman's out there,
I
man.
got
it's
a
funny.
red one. If I use
Oh,
one, I
fuck
use
no.
red.
It's
really?
funny.
No, because if you see
say
the
that.
boogeyman with a red light, that's even scarier.
Yeah. Hey, my buddy Dre McDonald, and I hope he's watching. Somebody give him shit about it. Last year we were hunting, and I said, "Hey, look, man, I'm gonna walk down the fire break with you. I'm gonna put you where I think he's gonna come out 50%, and I'm gonna go to the other place where I think he may come out 50%. And if he moves, then we have a chance to at least maybe see him."
Mhm.
Yeah.
I said, when you get down, you're like 25 yards off the fire break. Just walk to the fire break and start walking back towards the truck. And he's like, all right, no problem. Well, I go and I get up and stand. And I think I see a few deer. He may see a few deer, whatever. I get down and I'm walking back. I got my stand on my back with my backpack and everything. And I'm carrying my bow. And I'm just walking through the woods and just, coming on along. I don't have no flashlight. Well, I know I'm getting close to the fire breaks. I can see the stand or whatever. and I guess Dre can't see me, and I hear, "Is that you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, shut up." I spent this whole time, I spent this whole time being quiet for you to holler. I was like, "Daggone, man." He's like, "Oh, I was just making sure, man."
That's funny, man.
Wow.
All right, look, fellas, it's 10:45. We good? You guys want to keep going, or you want to call
It's
it?
been a while.
Yeah, we've been
It's
going.
been a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bennett's
Hunting
got
for a while.
to get up what time? 4 tomorrow?
3:30.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Well,
man.
But yeah, I mean, I had a few more questions, but I'm sure if you want to
Go
come back
ahead,
on,
shoot.
yeah.
Ask.
Just late season. That's what I'm really curious in, because like I said, I do good during the rut until about it's that week between Halloween and like the second week of November. That's my favorite. But last year I was just getting stumped by like mid-December till the end. So do you have any like? Do you change your hunting? Do you prefer going in the mornings late season? Because I know it's easier to catch them going to bed late season because they're already paired up and they slow down a lot and they just move at night and feed and come back in. Do you believe that? I mean, there's a lot of arguments about. Do you think deer go nocturnal?
I
That's-
believe
that's
certain, and that moon phase still works
Yeah.
on
So
that.
what's your plan late season? What do you do? Like, how do you set up your hunt? Do you go evenings or do you try to get them in the morning? What's your tactic for late season?
Both.
Both. Okay, so
Yeah,
just stick with.
But
okay.
and to go by that moon phase, get you one of them moon chart thing.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Hell, that movie.
but if you
Hey,
if you can find some
Bennett
late
says
acorns
he signs
dropping,
off on it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Find you some late acorns dropping. There's out there in area on the west end over some kind of acres, and I don't remember what kind they were. They were long, real long there, look like a football.
Yeah. What you talking about?
I never and David Long knows what kind they were.
They willow oaks?
They might have been. They were real long. and they was dropping in December, mid to late December.
Really? How the hell did you find those if you're?
David found them. I
was
didn't
about
find
to
them. He
say,
sent me
I
a ticket.
didn't even know your vehicle could go over there.
He had me hunting over there. I saw 13 deer one time over there in one day.
Yeah.
Dang.
So basically, I'd agree, that's a good, like the key to Bragg, find those acorns, find those persimmons, you know, and you're gonna find freaking.
I think if you can, just go.
Cause there's,
And that's where I found
Yeah,
out that
they're
deer eat
slaves to their
poplar. You know,
stomach.
poplar trees.
yes,
They eat the buds off of them.
huh,
Somebody had shot one down, one that
Oh, wow.
fell, and those deer came by on the fire break, and this daggone cowhorn, he come out and he got in that daggone thing, and one time he only had 2 legs on the ground.
Huh.
He was laying in that tree, eating the buds off that
Poplar
tree. That was
buds,
funny.
Josh Whitford Fishing says American chestnuts. I don't know if that's, I guess that's what those are, but
American chestnut
Oh.
fish are a long game.
they're extinct, aren't they? Or no, no, that's hickory, hickory's extinct.
No, the hickory's not.
It's not?
The,
Hickory nuts?
the American,
Chestnut.
the American chestnut is gone.
Oh, it's gone.
Yeah, there's, no, the blight killed them. There's Dunstan, there's Chinese, but they all come in, and they fall a lot earlier than December.
I did have I wanted to ask you, since y'all been hunting this area for, you know, the food plots are all ryegrass now. Have they ever done anything different, or is
It's
that
always
always been
rye.
Yeah,
ryegrass?
you used
Yeah,
to.
we used to, when we were hanging, how many friggin' food plot signs you reckon we hung in
Oh
2
my
years?
God.
Probably because it's cheap and there's people out there
When they
that are
used-
using
when
their
they
VA status to get free
Kale,
hunting.
turnips,
What's that?
turnips.
Oh man, turnips must have been awesome.
Turnip,
Yeah.
great, we had soybeans at one time.
What's that? Nut grass. They call it nut grass. but
Nut
isn't it?
sedge.
Nut sedge?
Yeah.
But it's basically, chicory is a sedge, which is
okay.
basically the same thing, and the turkeys like it, 'cause they'll scratch it
Yeah.
through the little rhizomes,
Oh, yeah.
little pods or whatever, but, we used to have, Donald Hutchison, Eddie Spears, Greg, all those guys, they were heading up the QDMA branch for Fort Bragg. And at that point in time, had a pretty sweet little deal worked out. We paid for all the seed and stuff like that, and Wildlife let us use all their tractors and
Oh,
trucks.
man,
Oh, wow.
And we'd go around planting food
I
plots.
mean, they planted,
Um,
I don't know how many hundreds of fields.
Man, dude, I can tell you from the end of deer season till the 1st of March, we used to spend literally 2 days a week, weekends for 3-4 weeks at a time, just bush hogging and reclaiming fields.
Why
and
don't y'all do
disking.
that now? I mean,
Can't
I
get
ain't gonna
by.
help you, cause that
Because
sounds
it-
like hard labor, but.
Well, exactly. It comes out to, oh yeah, man, I'm game.
Yeah.
Oh
Nobody
man,
shows
the
up.
wife makes me gotta do this.
Yeah.
I've been hunting all year. I can't start now.
Yeah.
And so it was 4 and 5 of us out there with little
Mm.
hand spreaders planting turnips and rape. But come October, there's 7 some bitches wanting to hunt that.
Wanting to
field.
That's
Yeah,
why,
you
that's
know.
one of the
We
main
never
reasons
hunted
why
that.
I'm not in a
I
hunt
never hunted
club.
one of 'em.
Yeah.
I'd go. I stopped in one day in GG. You know, right there in the bottom when you're come hang a right on chicken like you're headed back into the base.
Mhm.
The food plot that was right there that wraps around the little edge of the swamp right there.
Mhm.
The only time I ever even went back in that field is I stopped there one day and we got a turnip and ate it.
Those are good. I
Yeah,
like the
the
fresh
purple top
turkey. Yeah,
turnip,
man.
man, I love them. I eat the heck
Deer
out of them.
love
Raw?
that stuff too. But
Yes, sir.
yeah.
When
Yeah.
when frost hits them and the leaves turn purple.
It raises the sugars to them. And that's the
Mhm.
thing about,
They-
Nebraska stuff, they leave them alone for the most part until the frost hits them to release the sugars and everything in them.
I didn't know that. I like turnips, but I ain't never ate one raw before.
I found a live round out there last year.
Really? What
The
kind?
guys, it was about that long,
Oh.
and about that big around, and it was real rusty and had a silver tip on it. And I called Wildlife.
Yeah.
They called Range Control. Range Control called me. And an hour later, there was 4 guys out there in a big old truck.
Oh yeah, you.
They had all their equipment out there.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What is that, like an artillery round?
I got it on my
mortar.
phone.
Could be a mortar.
A
Hell,
mortar?
Teddy and I, we were coming down Rayford and Mass one time and went to go make a left right there at Camel's Crossroad, and the Marines stopped us. I remember that little ZR2 you used to drive?
Yeah, yeah.
And, kind of like yours, but I think his was red.
Red, yeah,
Yours was
red.
silver.
Yeah.
But they stopped us, and Teddy was like, he's like, what are y'all doing? He's like, we're going deer hunting. You know, we had range control card and all that stuff. He's like, well, we lost an ordinance.
Oh shit.
And Teddy said, where? He said, somewhere between here and Moore County Road. And he's like, son of a bitch, that's 10,000 acres.
Yeah,
We're gonna
right.
Let you shoot at your own
Yeah.
base. He turns around and hauls butt out of there.
Was that the year that they had 3 rounds get off range and that one guy?
I believe so. They stopped us right there. We were headed to Z.
That's, man, I've been out at one of the drop zones, and if you sit in the right place, it's crazy. Like, you can hear the artillery rounds flying
over there,
I
yeah.
was telling buddy, I was like,
Yeah.
it's cool, man. Yeah, but I was like tripping out, because I'm like, they're going.
I
everywhere.
remember when I was in the military, we'd be asleep, out, bivouac, whatever you want to
That's
call
what
it,
the deer
sleeping.
are so used to
and you hear it, and I'm thinking, you know, if you know the military, Davardi is like where the dumb motherfuckers go. I'm
Division
sorry.
artillery.
No offense if you're in Davardi artillery right now. You know, every dumb. I've met guys like working over in Iraq that are just complete dunces, and I'm like, you had to been artillery. And they were like, how'd you know? Because you dumb as a rock. So you got those guys throwing rounds, and you're sleeping under them. I was like, oh, one of these things gonna fall.
Well,
short.
they're not the ones that are aiming the cannon. It's the officers. and
Yeah,
fires.
yeah.
There's so much.
But you know,
checkers.
okay, if all the
Yeah.
dumbasses are in artillery, what do the officers? They're like
the
the
lowest scoring
Lieutenant
officer.
Pyle out there.
Yeah, I was in TT one time right off a chick, and I climbed up. I left my stand there
Oh,
the night
yeah.
before.
Josh
And,
Fuchs. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I got up and sitting there, man, right about daylight. No, I mean, dude, there weren't even birds chirping. And about that time, I swear to you, it had to be within 100 yards of Middle Route Road, and they started firing. That is the only time I had been so scared I left.
Joshua Fuchs.
Books.
Oh,
Says,
folks.
you ever heard a turkey gobble to artillery? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Shot go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bennett, do you turkey hunt?
Yeah, I didn't have too much success the last 2
Yeah.
years.
I'm getting
And
into it.
actually-
I've seen them, but I haven't had a
I
shot.
actually quit bow hunting them now. I hunt them with a 410.
Oh, shit.
Best
I killed
locator
one.
call there is on Fort Bragg is a car horn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pull up right at daylight.
Yeah.
Go to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hell with that walk.
I'd rather hear them gobble than shoot the daggone
Oh,
thing.
yeah, it's cool, man.
I like watching them strut and
They're
work
cool
and
birds.
drum.
Oh, yeah.
They're goofy when you put a pretty decoy out there for 'em.
Remember that old stupid Jake we used to use when we hunted? You know what drop zone we used to like to hunt all the time? It'd be me, you, and Hutch. All of us lined something
Yeah.
up.
I used that funky chicken. That's one of
Funky
the
chicken,
best
that's the
decoys.
one. That stupid looking Jake looks like he's had the hell beat out of him for 10 years. He's like this big and just stands straight up in the air, and they'll beat the crap.
I got
out
two of them
that
now.
thing.
First turkey I ever shot, I shot in Long Valley
Oh, that's a spot I want to go.
with a
hunt,
bow.
man. Long Valley.
It's
Deer
screwed
hunt.
up in there now. I
Long
found deer
Valley's over off
carcasses
the
in there.
Archery.
That's a
That's
very
far out
small.
there.
I hunted that
Yeah.
because it was so close to my house. I ain't never had no success out there. But then again, I suck. But it's a good area. There's a nice little. There was a guy that I knew. I did his roof, and his daddy worked for forestry. And anyway, he had a camera set up out there and a stand. I hunted out there a few times, but it seemed like the spots that are more convenient for me to hunt, they're close to me. I don't like them. You know what I mean? I live. I can walk to like PP, QQ, that area right there. I live right off MacArthur Road.
They say it's good air, but they drive a lot of 4-wheelers and
A
stuff.
lot.
like that.
Yeah.
But there's
man, there's a
big
lot
deer
of-
in
That's annoying. But
in
what it is what it
PP
is.
and like OO. I seen
The
a
shotgun
deer.
only areas.
No. Well, OO is rifle. And that's up. It kind of
Like a
like
little triangle.
it's like a little triangle, and there's some big deer in there. I've got them on
I've never-
camera.
as long
I
as
killed a
I've
nice
hunted,
eight.
I've never been in them.
I killed a nice 8-pointer there a few years ago.
I didn't ever know where they were, but I hunted when I got in trouble at Fort Bragg a long time ago when I rifle hunted.
Mm-hmm.
When they had the game wardens.
Yeah.
I was hunting Z.
Oh.
So I got up in a tree and I took my orange off and put it in my hunting suit,
Oh,
my
man.
You can't
Yeah.
do that.
and Jay come down there and got me.
That's probably of all things we did growing up on Fort Bragg, that's probably about the best to get caught for.
Buddy Art says Long Valley is horrible.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna hunt Juniper Creek this season just for the hell
I've
of
seen
it.
a
You were hunting Juniper Creek the day that you saw that damn deer.
Is it
Juniper
pretty-
Creek was
That
probably
was-
about 200 yards to you.
Wait,
If you were facing the way we came in, like if you were facing, you know, if you were facing the hardball road that we drove in on,
Yeah.
if you're facing that way, Juniper Creek probably only about half a grid square to your right. That's Juniper Creek.
There's
Okay.
a beautiful clear cut there now.
yeah, it's
Man, they wiped out some
Scout
mess over
GG,
there
man.
around Sandy Grove Church. And
Yeah,
all
you
that.
drive down Sandy
oh
Road.
yeah.
But Juniper Creek was where you were at would have been in the impact area. So we were
Yeah,
right
yeah.
along the edge
They're
of the
by,
impact.
that's where my other spot is off of Turkey Road, yeah, where the Black Hawk crashed. That's one I don't care. Everybody goes out there, but yeah, that's a good spot for me. But I don't know. I'm gonna stick to bow this year.
There's a lot of spots that I don't go to. I hear about them all the time because it's such a damn far drive.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out to
That's-
BB and out towards Rayford and
Just
all
hunt
that.
Right here.
I just go right there, you know. I like.
wish-
That's how I ended up in that area because it was close.
Buddy is the weirdest deer hunter I've ever met. He's lazy but hunts every day.
Yeah, I put a lot of work into it, but in a lazy way.
That's really.
Relax.
To be-
Well,
to
it's
be
like this.
consistent with it, you know
I
what
go
mean?
every day and I go to different spots. I don't like to go too far. Like I don't like to go past say Normandy drop zone. Anything out past that, I'm not going. That's as far as I'm going in those areas.
Man, I'll sign out some days that like a deer hunting. I'll scout all day.
Nah, man.
Find a
If
place
if
with hair
it's
stand up on the back of your neck, you better
Yes,
go.
sir.
if it's
When you
within
go to sleep,
legality of killing them, I'm gonna sit in a tree. I try to do that. I always say next year I'm gonna scout. I'm gonna do that. No.
I scout a lot more now.
But I'm also gonna park my truck, and I'm not walking very far. Like these motherfuckers that I've been hunting. When I first met Randy, he put me on a spot. He was like, park here and then walk here, and I got out. Man, it must have been like 4 grid squares
Yeah, that's
from where I parked.
stupid,
I
man.
ain't doing
And another
that. I
thing,
could have drove
too,
all the way around.
I wish a lot of people, like, I understand you don't want to be 75 yards from your tree stand, but you also don't need to be a mile from your truck.
That's
No.
You know
yeah,
what I
that
mean?
kind of pissed me
Because
I'll
off.
park my
it's-
truck right up underneath my
in
tree
a-
stand if it's
in a
right there.
sense, it's your place marker, and
Right.
it gives people an idea. Like, we had a guy one time, man, he was
Good
parking,
point, yeah.
and I always wanted to hunt this one fire break, and I'm like, damn, what time is this dude getting here?
Mhm.
And finally I waited on him one time, and I was like, piss on it, I'm gonna wait until he gets here.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and sitting there and sitting there, and all of a sudden he comes walking up from the opposite direction. I'm like, damn, dude, where'd you come from? He's like, oh, you know where such and such? I'm like, dude, that's a mile away. And he's like, yeah, about it. I'm like,
Why? I don't get it.
I had, man.
They
Walk
don't
across the
care.
highway somewhere.
I have literally watched deer, like where I hunt out towards Sicily Drop Zone along Bones
they don't
Creek.
pay it no attention.
I have, because I hunt in the thick part, but I can look over and see my truck. I've seen deer, not big bucks or nothing like that, but I've seen deer walk right past my damn truck.
They don't care.
And I'm like, oh, maybe they'll come around. And I'm like, but I'm not going to shoot at my truck. But
Dude,
they
I
don't
drew
give a
on
shit.
one of the biggest deer I've ever drawn on Fort Bragg. I drew on him listening to mariachi music so loud I could understand the words. There's
man.
some shit they're just used to.
Yeah,
you
like-
know what I mean?
In our spot, you hear the troops coming through all the time and ATVs and stuff. And sure enough, I used to get bothered about it, but then now I'm like, doesn't matter. 'cause
I
it's
still
gonna-
get pissed at the motherfuckers in the Jeeps at 5:30 going
Yeah,
up and
in
down the
morning.
hills.
Oh, yeah, the drunk
rolling
soldiers coming back
through.
from the bar.
Yeah, man.
The motorcycles, I every once in a while out in the Bones Creek area, or Jump and Run Creek, not Bones Creek, Jump and Run. There'll be a guy out on a dirt bike. That don't bother me. This one dirt bike ain't gonna hurt nothing. But
This is
when you go up and down and you turn around, driving through is one thing. But when you're in the area, I mean, a fucking stray dog's not gonna come over there. You know what I mean? With all that
This is-
noise.
this
You
this
remember-
pissed me off last. Oh,
You remember Gray? You remember Gray? We were hunting NTA 4 that day. Remember the old railroad bed? In between
Yeah,
where the
yeah,
pump-
that's a damn cliff in there.
Yeah, and then some bitches came here on a dirt bike, and I seen Gray, he was running down the road with his gun. I said, what were you gonna do? He said, I was gonna shoot the son of a bitch. He was so mad. He was so
Even
pissed.
Dean
yeah.
used to hunt that in there a lot.
Man, we ended up walking that thing, scouting it that day, and I mean, it was unbelievable, the deer sign and stuff in there. And Gray had like picked out, like literally, if the deer would've moved, he'd end up killing that deer in about 10 after 5.
I remember one time I was about to shoot a deer over by where the dove fields are at, and there's like a dump over there. I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I was on the Fort Bragg side. I don't know what side, the dove field side, and I seen a deer as I was walking out of I left my climber, and as I was walking out, I looked over and I saw deer at the edge of the field, and they were doe. There's one little buck, and I get down and I'm waiting for him to come across, and I finally get him to sight, and I fucking feel something over my right shoulder. It's like 4 fucking like SF dudes standing there.
oh,
I guess they were gonna land a helicopter that day. They standing there like, and they start talking. I'm like, they didn't even talk to me. They didn't say, "Hey, what's
Yeah.
up?" They was talking to each other. That was the weirdest thing. 'Cause I felt weird. Like, am I in the wrong place? Like, it is hunting season. And they're like, "Yeah, I think we'll land them here about 4." At least say, "Hey, bud, what's up?"
That's
You
the
know,
thing,
and
and it's
it was weird. I was the most awkward situation. I was like, "Okay, I guess I'll leave."
Like you were a ghost.
Yeah,
We
like they
tend-
didn't.
we tend to forget. We got a lot of people who aren't in the military, but gotta just put this out there. And I know it sucks, but it is a military base, and we are privileged to be out there. So
It
don't,
is.
if you see
Yeah.
troops, don't get mad.
They
Like
take precedence over.
now, if
Man.
there's guys being dicks on their time off, and they're doing stupid stuff that they're not supposed to be doing. Yeah, but one thing that really pissed me off was last season. It was me being typically late going in, but I checked the area and I plotted out my way in as not to disturb anyone because I knew it was prime time. But this pissed me off. If you're a hunter doing this, you're a fucking dick. All right. This guy was parked in one area. There was nobody signing in the area I was gonna hunt. And his truck was like a half mile from where he was. Now he was in the area where no one else was signed in, up in a tree, no orange, and he was
Yeah.
all. And as soon as he saw me, he had glasses on. Like he bundled up real quick, so I couldn't like identify him. But that's a dick move.
He probably
Straight
wouldn't even signed out.
And the funny thing, no, he wasn't.
Probably not.
The funny thing was, is I got a deer that night, so I didn't give a shit.
So all I'm
Like,
gonna say to that
Yeah.
is, don't drive under my tree at 5:30 in the fucking evening, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, buddy, Brian Moore says he's guilty of parking and walking in a good ways because I don't want to drive in. But if you're gonna park somewhere to deceive
It's
everybody
Fort
else,
Bragg.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell
It's
you
Fort
right
Bragg.
now. We've said it before. I don't think we harp on it enough. You kind of throw away if you're from Michigan, Ohio, out west, California.
Yeah.
When you come to Fort Bragg, you really got to put all that out of your brain. These deer out here, they're not. If you stop your vehicle, is when they run. If you ever see a deer and you're driving on a fire break, make a conscious effort to not stop, and you'll see that they will just stop and look at you, and they won't run. It's
Sometimes
when
they
you
will.
stop. Now, every once in a while, a young deer, you see them hopping away when you're driving through, but drive in. I mean, do what you want. You don't have to walk.
Yeah,
that
I
far.
mean, it's a great thing. It's
Yeah.
public land. You can do whatever.
Do whatever. You can do whatever you want, but
if you use your truck as a place marker, you tend to not get screwed up as much.
yeah. And again, like John, into that, if I pull into an area where I normally hunt and I see someone's vehicle,
I'll stop.
I'll stop.
Yeah.
And then usually I'll put this is what I still don't understand the haterism towards the PM to deconflict. I don't understand it because I'll be on there. Hey man, if you're in area R,
Yeah.
and you're parked up, I'm gonna go in. PM me, tell me about where you're at, or I won't go. And people been like, hey man, you're good. I saw you come in. I'm all the way over down here. Keep going. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people joke and
I think
hate that.
people just joke on it just because so many people do it. But
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly think, dude. I mean, why the hell would you not want to do that?
I know.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
You-
I didn't understand the joke. Like almost like when you do something that there's always a group of people that think it's dumb. Like it's not
Yeah.
cool. Like I ain't
I mean,
doing
as
it.
long as you're,
I'm not PM the people. I'm just gonna hunt. Well, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Go do you.
Go do your thing. But
Yeah.
why do you have to announce that to everybody? Just to
Yeah.
let us know that you're
I
a
saw
dick.
a thing on Facebook earlier that said breaking news. That said just because you see something on Facebook, you don't have to stop and write a fucking essay.
Yeah.
You know
Keep
what I
on
mean?
scrolling.
Yeah.
We had a podcast
Yeah,
about
keep
that.
on
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the name of it, I think, too. Just keep
Yeah,
scrolling,
but,
man. They always got to voice their opinion. Like,
I mean, it's a good thing to do. It's using technology to your advantage. I mean, and there's going to be some guys that are like, oh, I've been hunting here. I'm not going to PM no damn body. You know, I mean, that's your prerogative. You pay the same thing. You have
Yeah.
just as much right as we have to be there. But don't hate on other people just because. But also, I can understand, be somewhat logical about it. Like, oh, I'm going to the NTA's PM to deconflict.
no.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's 30,000
Yeah,
acres.
no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
But-
normally like
Yeah.
the only time that I'll really even do it is if I see in an area like say small. It's like a little triangle. Now it's a bigger area, but the hunt where you're hunting,
Yeah.
where you got the draws and stuff, it's small. So if I see a car in there, I will hit up the
Yeah. I hunt O a lot. I don't never see anybody out there for some reason.
I never run into anybody. I haven't had the problem.
The only
You
time I
remember
ran into
One time I went to lunch. This is how I met Cliff Jones on Facebook. I was hunting this area in the morning. And I went to eat, and I came back, and there was a guy that was on the fire break, right where I was hunting. I wasn't hunting on the fire. This guy was on the fire break, but he was hunting in the area around Bones Creek. And I didn't make a smart ass comment. I was like, hey, I just drove underneath you because I was hunting there this morning. I'll just move. And Cliff told me it was his brother or something. That's how I met him. But I mean, it's all good. It's the only time.
Cliff knows plenty of places to go.
No, his
Yeah.
brother Cliff.
Oh.
I think it was Cliff. Does Cliff have a brother?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And he was.
I know he hunted.
He used to.
I think he said. I think he mentioned that maybe it was hard for him to hunt, so that's why he was on the fire break.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying like thanks for parking in my spot, asshole. I was saying like I'm sorry I drove underneath you because I'm coming down this road and I never see anybody in this area. For like 3 years, I thought this area was like my own private land because I never saw soldiers. I never saw anybody out there, and it's a damn good area. I used to hunt it back in the day. I've been told by people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good area, but all right, let's go home.
So we gotta wrap it up. We'll do our
Yeah, let's do the plug.
The
The
plug.
website. Okay, it's payday. All right, I know when you motherfuckers get paid. Buy a hat. Buy a hoodie. The hoodies are dope. If you want a sticker, get up with me.
Cool.
It's I'm not gonna put it out on what the website is because it's posted all over the Facebook page. I'm gonna keep posting it. Please buy something, Bennett.
But yeah, we're giving away stickers if you go to the How Copy Facebook page and message your name, and we'll put you in a hat, and we'll have it drop by 8 o'clock.
You have to like the
tomorrow.
page too.
Yeah, like it.
You can't just go and message me. If you're not a fucking light on the How Copy page, you ain't getting shit. Bennett, this hat's for you
Subscribe.
Oh yeah.
for being
wow.
a guest. That is
Yeah.
the last of that logo, the Gen. What was that, Gen 3?
Cool.
Because
That's like
now we got the
blue,
new
don't
logo.
it?
Yeah,
It's got a new lucky hat.
that's a good hat. It's
Yeah.
brand new. I wore it in today. This is the new one. This is a new one. It's got the new different logo on it because I can't get the logo that's on my back that big on there.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, get out there, like, subscribe, and thank you again, Bennett BT, for the legend for
come
coming
back
on.
in.
Yeah.
Come back. I'm ready
absolutely.
for a cookout now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll get with you and I'm sure we'll talk.
Deal with Chris. I'm not cooking on
But
that.
here's the thing, Chris. Here's the thing, Chris.
He's not
If you
watching.
gonna say that you're
His
gonna,
ass is
no,
asleep.
I'm gonna make a short out of this and I'm gonna send it to him. If you gonna say you want to do it, then let's fucking do it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm gonna say. I ain't cooking shit. I'll throw in some money, but I ain't cooking.
Yeah, I'll throw my part of the financial.
Yeah.
aspect of it, man.
And that's probably what we'll probably end up doing is I'll create an event, and then people that want to go, they can say, yeah, I want to go, and then we can get a gauge of how many people,
I
and
tell
then
you
maybe
what-
they can throw in like $5-10 for the pig, and then we can have a good old
I
time.
tell you what we should do, and this is just an idea where everybody can look at. Remember last year I was kind of plugging the whole thing, and let's get like him and Donald, my brother, and the guys who've been hunting Bragg for a long time, have like a Q&A
Whatever
session.
happened with that?
Well, let's make the cookout part of that and just say, hey, if you want to come to this, let's do $10. You know
That
what I
ain't
mean?
nothing. Yeah, that
Yeah.
ain't
To
nothing there.
not to come, but to pay for the
To
food.
pay for the
drinks,
food and the
all
beer
that
and
crap.
stuff, and the ice.
And then once the food's done, we'll get some fold out tables out there. And I mean, it's 300 acres. There's plenty of places for people to sit.
Yeah.
And we'll put them out there, and then while we're eating, we'll just bull crap and talk. When everybody's done eating, we'll just
We
set
should-
a little table and get 4 or 5 guys up there to ask questions.
We should put a 3D target out like 100 yards, one shot.
I'll do that.
Closest to the dead zone wins the
I'm gonna
pot.
walk there about 30.
I'll do that.
100 yards, closest to the kill shot wins the pot, or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
we-
that.
We
Yeah.
can take a Saturday or a Sunday, man, before hunting gets good.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
somebody can miss an October day,
Yeah.
late September,
Yeah,
early
yeah.
October day.
I can
you know
do
what
that.
I mean?
I can do that.
Nobody's gonna miss November.
No,
Basically, the week of Halloween
Especially-
until the 1st of December.
Yeah.
especially a guy like me. I gotta
Nobody's
go.
gonna go.
I'll probably be
Well,
done
that
by about the
morning, By 10
18th.
o'clock, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Hell, I'm not even ready to get down in the mornings. I'd rather sit in the mornings than I would in the afternoons. But all right, thank you, Bennett.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
thanks,
man.
Appreciate it. I
Appreciate
enjoyed
it.
it, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
Anytime you want to
Gucci.
come back
Appreciate
on,
it,
just
sir.
just hit us up. Tuesdays is the day that we do this at 7:30, when everything's operating
Yeah,
properly. But we got a late start today. but-
We pulled it off.
Thanks to
yeah,
Jonathan.
at
again
least we
for
know we can do this
continuing
now. I mean,
Yeah,
shit,
You're one of us.
I may go get a
You made it
I
work,
may go get a
didn't you?
Blue Yeti microphone that's made just for this.
Yeah.
You know?
I
'Cause-
think it came in pretty good.
yeah, I think so. I heard it a little bit there, and we'll see. I
Right.
can get it the right microphone and do it this way, but anybody else out there that wants to come in, I can't. Of course, we can't have a whole gang in here. And
Oh, yeah,
Josh
another-
Whitford wants to
another
come
plug.
next Tuesday.
If you can't
Josh
hear us,
Whitford, okay.
that means we need better equipment.
Yeah,
So
and
go
it-
ahead and hit
yeah, all
that
yeah.
Patreon. Yeah.
Oh, and we're losing this spot in the end of September, so we gotta find a new spot.
We'll figure it out.
It's
We'll be
neat,
fine.
though. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's simple. We can just set a table up and we can just use that table and I'll just we can do that.
All right.
That's easy.
We will carry on. So
All right,
once
word
again, thanks for tuning in out there, and we'll see you next time. This is How Copy. That's a good copy.
Good
We are
copy.
out.
Over and under.
Over under.
How do you
Buy
cut
a
it?
damn hoodie and just in case Buddy hadn't said it 48 times.
nothing bad. I'm still.
We're still rolling. Well, we have that delay. We can stop it still now.